Let me just say that we've been hard at work over the last several months trying to make sure that we take care of the people's money and trying to make sure that the services that exist for the betterment of our fellow citizens, whether they're low-income kids who need access to food resources, whether they're low-income families who need access to medical benefits, that those programs are protected for the people who actually need them, that they don't exist to enrich fraudsters, but they exist for the American people for whom Congress has said they're entitled. And that's exactly what this fraud task force is about. One of the things that I thought going into it, but that I've learned about fraud, is that it always has two fundamental victims. The first victim is the American taxpayer, who is generously paid into these programs in an effort to give their fellow citizens a leg up. But it also has as its victims the people who are meant to benefit from these programs, who are not able to benefit, or maybe are benefiting less because of what a disaster some of the fraud has wrought in these programs. And let me just give you a few concrete examples of what we're worried about, of what we're targeting, and also what we're going to do to solve some of these problems. So first, we're announcing that the federal government is deferring $1.3 billion in Medicaid reimbursements from the state of California. And the simple reason is because the state of California has not taken fraud very seriously. And because of that, we see a lot of the consequences that I just referenced. And again, let me highlight the fact that this really is two separate victims. So there are California taxpayers and American taxpayers who are being defrauded because California isn't taking its program seriously. But also you have people who've been prescribed medications that they don't even need. Sometimes they've had drugs put into their bodies that they don't need because fraudsters have actually encouraged false prescriptions and false administration of medications. So think about this. You're just a person trying to go see a doctor. You assume that your doctor is doing the right thing, but these fraudulent healthcare providers are getting rich by giving people medications they don't even need. It's a defrauding of the American taxpayer, but it's a violation of the trust that should exist between every American and the people who prescribe the medications. That's one thing that we're targeting. And this is why we're taking this action, is because we want California to get serious about this fraud. The second thing I want to talk about, and it requires a little bit of background explanation, is that we are going to very aggressively encourage the states to take Medicare fraud more seriously. So I think a lot of you understand, but for those of you watching at home who don't appreciate this, the Medicaid system that exists in the United States is really 50 separate systems. The federal government pays most of the Medicaid money, but then each of the individual states actually administers the Medicaid program. Now, we have red states and blue states that go after fraud aggressively, but we also unfortunately have some states, mostly blue states unfortunately, that do not take Medicaid fraud very seriously. So you have what's called Medicaid Fraud Control Units, or MFCUs. These Medicaid fraud, these anti-fraud units within the Medicaid program, we generously, meaning the federal government generously gives these fraud control units many, many billions of dollars across the United States of America so that they can take Medicaid fraud seriously. But let me just give you an example to highlight how absurd some of these Medicaid fraud programs are, because they're not actually being used at all. This is a tool. This is a tool that we want the states to use, but unfortunately, a lot of states aren't using these tools at all. Let me highlight this with just a couple of separate statistics. So the Hawaii Medicaid program has received billions and billions of dollars from the federal taxpayers. And of course, Hawaii taxpayers have paid in a lot of money into this program over the last years as well. Guess how many convictions or indictments has Hawaii had over the last few years in its Medicaid fraud program? The answer is zero. Not a single indictment, not a single conviction, because the administrators of the Hawaii program just don't take it seriously. They don't think that fraud is a big enough problem. They don't care about protecting resources. They don't care about protecting that Medicaid program. So what does that mean? That means that if you're committing fraud in Medicaid in Hawaii, at least up until now, hopefully now they're going to take it seriously, you have had effectively free reign from the government of Hawaii to commit as much fraud as you want. That is a complete disgrace. In New York, which does a little bit better, but not by much, New York has had 9 indictments over the last year. 9 indictments. That's a $100 billion Medicaid program just in New York, and you've had 9 indictments. Indiana, which has about a third of the population of the state of New York, has had more than 4 times as many indictments over the same period. So does anybody here seriously think that the good people of Indiana are 12 times more likely to commit fraud than the people of New York? No, of course not. That's absurd. What is happening is that the leadership in New York are just not taking the fraud issue seriously. They're not using these anti-fraud control units to actually investigate and indict the fraud. So what are we going to do to fix that? Today, we are sending across 50 Medicaid programs, we are sending letters that will require them to show that they are effectively and aggressively prosecuting Medicaid fraud in their states. And if they do not aggressively prosecute Medicaid fraud, we are going to turn off the money that goes to these anti-fraud units. And I would say a couple things about this. You may think, obviously, this is a Republican administration. We're all proud Republicans up here. You may think that this is purely a red state or blue state issue. That's actually not true. We see Medicaid fraud issues in Ohio, the state that I used to represent in the United States Senate. We also see Medicaid issues, fraud issues in a state like Maryland, which is obviously a very blue state. But both Ohio and Maryland have worked with us to take this issue seriously. They've worked with the guys behind me. They've worked with our entire team to make sure that they take fraud seriously. Again, this does not have to be a red state or a blue state issue. This is just basic good government. However, states like California, states like Hawaii, states like New York have completely not taken the fraud issue seriously in the Medicaid program. And so for those states that refuse to get serious about fraud, we are going to turn off that anti-fraud money. And if we continue to find problems, we can turn off other resources within their state Medicaid programs as well. Our goal here is not to do that. We don't want to turn off any money. What we want to do is ensure that people are taking fraud seriously. We want to protect Medicaid. We want to protect Medicare. But we can't do that if the states that are administering those programs are allowing those programs to be fleeced by fraudsters. So we encourage, whether it's California or New York or Maryland or Ohio, we encourage people to work with us. We want to help you use technology and other tools to get rid of the fraud, to get to the root of the fraud. We want to help you. But we can only help these state programs if those state programs are willing to help themselves. So these letters are the first step, the first effort to try to force these states to get serious about prosecuting fraud, and that's exactly what we're doing. Let me just talk about one final issue here. We see a lot of fraud in the home health care and in the hospice care system. I think Dr. Oz will probably talk a little bit more about that. But again, you have to appreciate that this fraud issue is fundamentally theft from the taxpayer, but also theft from people who need these programs. Just last month, a California psychotherapist, a woman who had spent 40 years treating patients, helping people deal with problems, found out that her Medicare program had been turned off, that she did not have access to the resources that she had been paying into for her entire life. Why? Because a fraudster had stolen her identity and signed her up for healthcare services that she didn't need, and so she had been turned off of the healthcare services that she did need. This happens way too much in the United States of America, and it happens because until recently, we did not have a government or an administration that actually took the fraud program and took anti-fraud prevention seriously. So let me just close with one final observation here. First of all, why are we doing this now? Why weren't we doing this 2 years ago? And the simple answer is because we didn't have a president and we didn't have an administration who took fraud seriously. So I want to thank the President of the United States, though I know he's busy in China. All of these efforts, all of these things that we're finding are because we have a president who has told us, take the fraud issue seriously, get to the root of it, and turn off the money when we find out that money is going to fraudsters. So that's exactly what we're doing. But I just want to say that for me, and I think for a lot of people who are involved in this effort, this is very personal, because I'm not just the Vice President of the United States. I come from a family, and I grew up in a family where we sometimes benefited from these programs. The generosity of the American people is one of the most amazing things about our country. I think all of us, of course, just passed tax day. None of us like paying our taxes, but we do it. And why do we do it? Because we know that it goes to give a bite to a low-income family that can't afford food. We know that it goes to pay the military who keep us safe. We know that it goes to some essential services. But that trust in our government, that trust in our institution, it depends on us taking that trust seriously. How long are people going to pay into programs if they know that that money doesn't go to a low-income kid who needs health care, but that money goes into a fraudster getting rich? This doesn't work, and this doesn't make sense unless we take fraud seriously. So I'm proud to be part of an effort in our government. I'm proud to lead the effort in our government to finally take fraud seriously.
Welcome. Hold on. Welcome, my friends. How are you tonight? I am very excited to be with you, and I had planned on talking with you a little bit more before I bring our guest on, but we can wrap things up at the end. But I did want to say, just it's no accident. It's not just business as usual what we're experiencing as a civilization right now, with President Trump going over to China, with all these incredible top business leaders, um, Jensen Huang of NVIDIA, Elon Musk of X, Tim Cook of Apple, Larry Fink, Steven Schwartzman, Kelly Ortberg of Boeing, Brian Sykes, Cargill, Jane Fraser, Citigroup, Larry Culp, GE Aerospace, David Solomon, Goldman Sachs, Sanjay Mehrotra, Micron, Cristiano Amon, Qualcomm, and many others journeying to the great country of China, where I'm reading President Trump's post, where I will be asking President Xi, a leader of extraordinary distinction. And let me just bring this up here as I finish this up. To open up China so that these brilliant people can work their magic and help bring the People's Republic to an even higher level. In fact, I promise that when we are together, which will be in a matter of hours, I will make that my very first request. I have never seen or heard of any idea that would be more beneficial to our incredible country's President Donald J. Trump. So this is what's so important to understand here. And by the way, I also wanted to just give a quick shout out to our dear friend, Spiritual Street Fighter, and her great works here on the next phase will bring justice. And I just want to say it's very clear to me, and I hope it's clear to you, that what we're seeing here as a country, as patriots, as MAGA, and I also wanted to bring up this Anon card, and I wanted to give a shout out to the Stoic Plumber, who is doing these Anon cards. And I want to thank those of you who reached out and asked for one for me. And I think it's pretty badass. I'm like really, really stoked about it. So this I shared on X. I need to put, actually, Moonbeam, if you wouldn't mind grabbing this off X and putting it on Snedeheads, that would be great. And by the way, my apologies, I have to get out the show to just a few platforms here, because I can't even tell you how busy I was today. It's just been crazy. Let me share some of that day with you. I was asked to be at the signing of a college basketball scholarship and journey of a player that I've worked with, who's a senior in my daughter's class at school. And he asked me, he was one of the first, I was one of the first he told about it. And he asked me to join him today as he signed for his school, Dallas Christian, Texas Christian in Dallas. And so very proud of him. So I was there for that. And much of the school was there for that, which was great. So, so that was part of it. And then a couple of amazing basketball sessions that I coached, and then the work on the getting the clinics going. So it's been a busy day. And I posted this today, which was pretty awesome. So thanks again to the Stoic Plumber, and for those of you who reached out and just said, hey, Dave Snedeker needs one of these. And Stoic Plumber was like, yep, got it. I think it was Craig put that out there, and Stoic Plumber said, yep, I got it. Got him in it. I just posted it, and it's awesome, or something like that. I can't remember exactly what he said. But yeah, pretty darn cool to be an anon and to have a kind of a head nod from a fellow anon in the way that he's doing all this. So there you have it, my friends. That's the anons card. So, my friends, without further ado, I mentioned that I would start this interview at 8:30, so I want to stay close to that, and I want to tell you about this fabulous lady who is going to join us here in just a moment, and let me let's see. Here we go. Sorry. Um, Maria Boldry is a naturopath and educator based in Greeley, Colorado, and the founder of Light Life Solutions, a natural healing clinic. Maria works closely with clients to identify root causes of imbalance and create personalized protocols that support the body's innate ability to heal. Passionate about education, she empowers individuals by examining their symptoms to create a better understanding of their deficiencies. Her work is rooted in the belief that when given the right support, the body has an incredible capacity to rebalance, restore, and thrive. She has been in the health and wellness world since 1997 and calls herself an electroceutical junkie. Maria is also the formulator of Settle Down, the Natural Happy Pill, which is an herbal formula designed to promote internal calm and halt brain chatter. Boy, could I use some halt of some brain chatter. Well, my friends, without further ado, please help me welcome Maria Boldry. Hello, Maria.
Hello, everybody in the chat, everybody that's on the call. I'm excited to be here tonight.
It's so good to have you. Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm going to stop this little scroll and just kind of give us some calm with all the craziness going on in the world and on the internet, and probably, I don't know, I got like 50 windows up on my screen. So let's just calm it a little bit and have a great conversation. So Maria's up in Colorado. So thank you for joining me. I'm down here in Texas, as you know, and the chat, the audience is all over the world. So it's wonderful we got Austria, we probably got Australia, we probably got New Zealand, we probably got some UK maybe in the house. And but primarily, you are going to be speaking to American patriots.
Awesome.
So,
yeah,
welcome.
No, that's awesome. Thank you.
And you are in the Sned shed. So welcome.
And I look like from my background that I might be in a shed. But
I love it. That's a beautiful background. I used to have that wooden background in my last shed.
Yeah, ours was a fence, a neighbor's fence that was very old and blew over. So we grabbed all the wood. So yeah, so I'm
done.
I'm in a shed too. So
there you go. I love it. I love it. So tell us a little bit, if you would, about your medical journey. You're going to find that my audience is very, very much awake to what you and I discussed as the Rockefeller medical system. Very aware of that. And so you really aren't going to need to do much 101 work, but I would love to know your story and how you came upon this journey. And then I know you have some things you'd like to share with us with a PowerPoint, which I will prepare while you're talking.
Okay. Yes. Hello, everybody. I'm just really excited to be here and share. I'm an educator at heart, and I love to just share things that people may not be hearing in obviously mainstream or even out there. There's a lot of podcasts, a lot of stuff that's being talked about, and there's some really key things that people end up missing. So, or they end up sharing, and therefore we end up missing it. So I really like to kind of bring everything together so that people understand what the body's trying to say. I feel like that's what my forte is grabbing symptoms. Our body has two different ways to talk to us. Well, before I get into all that, you wanted to know about a little bit about me.
Yeah.
So I, homemaker, started decorating cakes, worked at Weston La Paloma in Tucson, Arizona, headed towards my dad's diabetes state, being a baker and doing wedding cakes. And someone told me, well, my chiropractor at the time told me you should be a chiropractor. And I thought, oh, no, I'm not. I don't think I want to do that. But that was a premonition, because as we moved to Colorado from Arizona at the time, my husband started seeing a chiropractor, and she did a lot of amazing things. She did muscle testing, and she really addressed all the systems of the body. And I wanted to be seen too, but we didn't have time. We didn't have enough money at that time for both of us to go to see her. So I asked if I could do some filing, because I like to do filing. I'm the strange one. And she said, well, I can't have you looking at patients' files unless you're an employee because of HIPAA. Do you want a job? And I just was like, oh, yeah, I guess I want a job. So that's how it started. And I worked for two amazing chiropractors for 15 years, ran the front desk. They were both very much into muscle testing, addressing the physiological, chemical side, the physical side, and the emotional side. And I was at the front counter just relaying how all of this pertains to their body and what their body's trying to say. So I had 15 years really of training school. I went to work every single day and learned something new about the body, learned something new about what the body was trying to say. And luckily, God gave me a brain that sort of just kind of like sponged all that. And so I love to share what I've learned over the years, because there's so much information the body tries to reveal to us. And it reveals it, in thoughts and in feelings, but we kind of push all that aside. So once I'd been working for them for a while, both of them formulated products. And so I got to witness all of that and see how you go about formulating a product, how you go about finding a manufacturer and labeling and all of that. And then in 2013, as you had said, my husband has some, mild PTSD and ADHD type of tendencies from childhood. And I've always been trying to assist him to calm his nervous system. And so I would bring him pills, right? He was super trusting. I would bring him pills and say, here, try these. And the Settle Down formula was about the fifth formula that I brought to him. And he came to me and said, about 8 minutes later, and said, what's in this? And I was like, are you okay? And he said, yeah, I feel comfortable in my own skin, and that doesn't happen. What is this? Well, then I started sharing it with all of our clients. I moved already out from the chiropractic office into my own clinic and started sharing those pills. And that kind of is what started us in being known in our area is the natural happy pill. And so we even have some schools that are dispensing for us and that type of thing. So that's really kind of how we got started. But I always noticed when I was working in those chiropractic offices that they didn't really want to bring in new things. They didn't want to bring in the electroceutical stuff. They didn't want to bring in stuff that they maybe didn't find or that wasn't really in their wheelhouse. So my big thing was when I decided to move out on my own, I wanted to be open to everything. I just made a vow to myself that whatever crosses my desk, I'm going to look at it. I may not go with it, or I may not find that it's really for me, but at the same time, I'm not going to close any doors. So I've always been super open, and I've turned into an electroceutical junkie. I've done the lasers and the OMS machines and the Rife machines and the Healy and the Beamer and the lasers and, the red light therapy and all of that. I mean, it's whatever. And
well, what's amazing is everything that you're talking about isn't going to hurt you. It's like, putting a lotion on or something. It's like, it's not going to hurt you. So it's like, why not try it? Right. Why not be open to it?
Exactly.
Now, if you're talking about like, hey, we're going to, operate on your knee, I don't want to try that out.
Right.
Yeah. I want to try everything out that leads up to that could avoid that surgery. And
Right.
And that's the great thing about the electroceuticals, the nutraceuticals that you're talking about.
Yep,
Yes,
exactly.
please continue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I totally agree. And so I just remained very, very open to everything that somebody would bring me. In fact, the Healy, when it came along, I was like, oh, one more device. Do I really need another device? And then I saw its potential and I was like, wow, this is something really cool. So, here is our Healy, right?
Well, you know what? Mine, I think, slipped behind my pillow in my
Uh-huh.
bed because I sleep with it under my pillow. But we talked about this, but we're both fans of the Healy.
Mhm.
Many of my listeners have bought the Healy. And so what we're going to talk about tonight isn't replacing the Healy.
No.
It's just it's right?
And
And it's a very powerful
it's it's
and.
a perfect adjunct to everything that we've already been doing. And I
Right.
feel like that is the cool thing is we need to look at everything in our health world as that we're filling a toolbox because we don't
Mhm.
know when something is going to be needed. And I think that when I look at red light therapy, I think your listeners will love this because this is a great analogy about bringing in electroceuticals. Is
Okay.
red light therapy really got its
Mhm.
became a buzzword like pre-COVID, right? Like 2017, 18, 19 kind of started building steam. And all of a sudden on Amazon, you start seeing red light therapy belts. And then all of a sudden
Yep.
spas are having red light therapy. Well, COVID, that viral pattern follows the calcium ion channel into the cell. And then it changes how calcium is distributed in the body. So it causes acidity.
Wow.
Okay. So does 5G. So do you
Wow.
remember when it was like, oh, 5G and COVID
Yeah.
are working together? They were just doing the same thing, but it was magnified. And Wuhan was the first city to go fully 5G. But 5G changes the calcium ion channel.
I want to talk about that a moment
Okay.
because we were covering that as it was happening.
Mhm.
I shared with you my fight against vaccine, for vaccine freedom in California, and seeing the coming pandemic. When we covered the 5G rollout in Wuhan and northern Italy and Seattle and New York City and some of these places where COVID was getting hit hardest, right?
Mhm.
And also one of the things I said about the vaccines was I said that the vaccines weren't to help us, but they were to allow 5G to better communicate with our bodies.
Yeah.
And that lost me a Twitter account on the old Twitter Jack Dorsey group, and that told me it was real.
Mhm. Yeah, when you start speaking truth, it's amazing, right?
Yeah. So could you speak to the what you were saying about the chemistry that was taking place there with the cell inside the cell of.
Yeah. So calcium is the most alkalizing mineral we have, right? And so we need it both inside the cell and we need it in the interstitial fluid around the cells. We need calcium there to keep us from getting too acidic. Our blood has to stay between 7.35 and 7.45 or else we get sick. So our body will
Right.
pull calcium from different places to try to balance constantly our pH. So here now we have COVID, which we're all exposed to, whether you've had it or not, you've been exposed to the frequency of it. And then
Right.
you have 5G, which is doing the same thing. So now we have two assaults on the body. But then
Mhm.
now I was talking about red light. What does red light do? It normalizes the calcium ion channel. So just
Oh,
think about
okay.
that it came into existence, this amazing benevolent universe brought in red light therapy as a buzzword right about the time that it was necessary for us to have it. Now, we should be standing in front of the sunrise and the sunset every
Yep.
day because guess what we get? We get red light, and red light balances and
Okay.
harmonizes our minerals, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
So when we're talking about all of these different things that we've been exposed to, the Healy, the Beamer, the whatever, the OMS machines, Rife machines, whatever, they've all come at a time where it's perfect. it's perfect for us to grab a hold and say, oh, I'm going to need this in my toolbox. I better take a look at that. And I think that's one of the reasons when something crosses my desk, I don't really ever poo-poo anything. I'm like, okay, show me what is this going to do, and how is it going to be accessible, and how is it going to help me regain and retain health? And what we're going to talk about today is, I feel, that next step. I know we're going to talk about it. Did you want to talk any more about the calcium ion channel before we kind of move on?
Just that, so the red light therapy resets that.
It reestablishes the calcium ion channel so that it'll function again.
Okay.
What the viral spirochetes do is they actually go into the cell and they close off that channel so calcium can't get back out of the cell. It's really kind of it's a way to acidify the body so that pathogens can then, come up and be more vigilant. Keeps the immune system from really tackling what we need. We need to have a really nice pH balanced system. We'll do that talk another time, where I talk about us being like a fishbowl. And our job is to not let the glass get green inside. But that's really what's happening, is we're in this constant state of regaining and retaining balance in our pH. So the viral pattern and then the 5G frequency is really, it's disruptive. So go back now and think about how many different times we've heard about elementary school kids having cardiovascular issues recently, right? Just in the last few years. Yeah. Well, 5G is in all the schools, right?
Yes.
It's on all the hospitals. It's all, you go to the hospital to get healthy or something, and you're like, nope, that's not going to happen. But
most of them have been jabbed too.
Yes.
Right. It's been because that was the whole reason we left California.
Yep.
We're known as medical refugees in Texas.
There you go.
So, which is funny, but it would be funnier if it wasn't so damn sad, right? That we have to run from our home of decades, just to say, no, I'm not going to do that to my daughter.
Right. Or have family members disown us, or friends cut us off, and, all that stuff that happened. And now to be walking into some of the truth, not from an I told you so perspective, but just like, oh, I knew it all along. That inner piece of like, my intuitive self knew that this wasn't right. Yeah.
You've got a lot of really brilliant people in this chat that have avoided all of that and haven't fallen prey to the indoctrination, if you will. This is the only indoctrination they fall prey to, is what I should say.
Yeah, right.
And even then, we just shatter it. So great stuff. Let me pull this up for us, and I'm excited to see now. Maria has written a book that we're going to share with you folks a little bit later, and it's a book on this device, and she's going to take us through. Just tell us what we're looking at here, please.
So remember how I said, the red light therapy came along at the right time. And I really feel like this particular company, which kind of put out these products into 2023, the reason they came about is the founder of this company really appreciated the fact that Olympians could find the right tool to heal really fast. You see skiers that have horrific wrecks, and they're, they've wrenched their knees and whatever. And 3 months later, they're back on the slope. How is that happening? And he really wanted to be able to find technology that could allow the average person the ability to have that technology to heal. And so he started putting together different frequencies, and it's called P90 Plus because there were 89 tries of getting.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, getting these frequencies. I just learned that just a couple of weeks ago. I was like, oh, that makes so much sense. There were 89 tries previous to this one. This was the 90th try, and they noticed so many amazing things. So what I would like to explain to all your readers today, or all your listeners today, is that is what this machine is that's on the forefront. There are only 10,000 people in the United States that are part of this organization right now, right? It started in Asia. moved over to Hawaii, and then it came to California a year
This is
ago.
what we're talking about here.
There it is right there. David Scott is holding it. It's called the P90 Plus. And there are only 10,000 people in America, all of them. That's like a seventh of a football stadium, right? It's like and that's for all of America. So it's new. So if you haven't heard about it, don't, kick yourself around thinking, oh my gosh, where have I been? I've been out of the loop. No, it's new, right? And so this device is so impactful because not only does it help raise blood flow, but it also increases cellular voltage. So I wanted to go through kind of like if you were a new client and I was talking to you about how does pulsed electromagnetic field, so PEMF, many of you have heard of it, the beamers, PEMF, there's a lot of different devices, IMRS, there's a lot of different PEMF devices. But I want to talk as if you're a new client and I'm explaining what does PEMF really do in the body? Because I feel like if this is something we're going to put in our toolbox, we better know what it's doing, right? And then why this secret sauce of terahertz coming in makes it so special. And that's why the 90th try was so impactful for this company and for us. So if you want to go to the next slide as a disclaimer, and we can read that or we can go buy it if you want to.
Okay. It just disappeared on me. Forgive me. Where the heck did that go? This is this show would not exist were it not for some technical difficulties from time to time.
I just saw in the chat somebody put, wow, sign me up. I missed out on the Healy. You can still get a Healy.
Awesome. Yeah. But this is if it's an either or, which would you have gotten?
This. Absolutely 100% this.
Yeah, same. Absolutely.
And working with these types of technologies for so long, 15, 20 years now, this is the machine that I would, if my building was on fire, this is the machine I would pull and take with me. I really feel like it's that impactful. And we'll talk about some of the testimonials and stuff of what people have seen on it, because it's really powerful.
That's a great way to look at it.
Do you want me to share on my end, or did you find?
You know what? I'm just dialing in now. There we go. Okay. So let's go to page 2, and I'm going to drop down the thing here.
Yeah, you're good. And this is just a disclaimer, basically saying, that the FDA has not approved. This is a wellness device. It's not FDA approved. It's health and wellness. I would say probably it's equivalent to a class 2 device if it were. Yeah. I mean, class 1, let's be realistic. A Band-Aid is class 1. So
right.
I think it does a little bit more than that. And then if you want to go ahead and go to the next slide, some people can stop that and read it. Okay. So I think this is so important to talk about is the cardiovascular system, right? The blood flow, right? Bleed the blood. Okay. On the left-hand side here, we see an image that has all of the larger veins and arteries and the heart. On the right side is from the BodyWorks exhibit. If you ever have the BodyWorks exhibit come to your city, go. It is a teeny bit morbid because it's all your inside parts, but you get to see so many aspects of the innards. And so what this is on the right-hand side is they took a body, a dead body, and they embalmed it with red silicone. And then they burned off the cadaver. They burned off the tissue. So this is where the blood would normally go. Look at all of the smaller capillaries in the lungs and the brain and clear out to the fingertips. And we know that this didn't even capture the most minute microvessels, right? Because they couldn't even push it out to there. So that is about 70,000 miles of vessels in our body. Crazy.
70,000 miles.
Yeah, up to 75,000 miles of vessels. Okay, so in order to have the heart pump to all of those vessels, we would have to have a huge heart, right? To make that impact and have the blood go out to the fingertips. But we don't have that. We have a heart that's the size of our hand, and that pump needs to get blood clear out to the fingertips. How does it do that? Well, we have this smooth muscle inside all of the arteries, clear out to the capillary level, that kind of keep pushing blood along. So if you'll go to the next slide, Dave, we'll see that there's a heart. There we go. And then on the right-hand side, if you can zoom in on that smooth muscle, this is what happens. The heart pumps blood out of the left ventricle. It hits the back of the aorta, and it sends out this great pulse wave. Now, we are an electrical being living on a magnetic planet. Do you remember the silver balls that like your dad would have on his desk where you
Sure,
pick up one and drop? I don't know what they're called, but it would just clack and clack and clack and go back and forth, right? And the way it did it was we live on a magnetic planet, right? So it would just, that frequency, that pattern would just go, right? The movement would go. So when that blood, go back to our cardiovascular system, when the heart pumps blood and it hits the back of the aorta, it starts this pulse wave that keeps going. So there on the right-hand side, you see that the smooth muscle is contracting and releasing and contracting and releasing all the way out to our fingertips. Now go to the next slide.
That's remarkable.
This is similar to a wave in the ocean. A wave in the ocean will just kind of keep going, right? It keeps going and going and going until it hits an obstruction, like the reef. It just breaks that frequency up, that breaks the wave pattern up. So in us, what breaks that blood flow up is congestion. So now go to the next slide. And it's the congestion in our body, the inflammation.
Watch the water, folks.
That will stop that blood flow from getting out to where it needs. So that could be tight muscles. Let's say that I've been at the computer all day and then I'm like, oh, honey, will you rub my shoulders because my muscles are so tight? They're not getting blood flow, right? So that's ischemic tissue. It could be scar tissue from surgery, and that's the blood flow is not getting through there. It could be just inflammation from eating the wrong foods or not knowing that you're eating inflammatory foods, drinking the wrong things, being around the wrong people. You know, emotion can also cause acidity in the body and inflammation. So our cardiovascular system is definitely inhibited by congestion or inflammation. So that's what stops the blood flow. Okay, so now go to the next slide. And this is what I really want to, PEMF stimulates those smooth muscles to keep going, even through scar tissue eventually. Takes a while, but even eventually. So PEMF stimulates the smooth muscles. We call them sphincter muscles, but I always like to say that after we've talked about the cardiovascular system, right? It's like little sphincter muscles that keep pushing, that keeps, compressing, releasing all the way out to where it needs to go. That's what PEMF does. It makes our blood pump and get out to the cells in a more youthful way.
Yeah, I've heard years ago. I can't remember. I was doing some research on something, and I came across that, like how you were saying, the heart is just the size of our fist. The heart cannot pump the entire blood throughout the body. It is the whole system. And I even read about the calves. Like your calves are a part of that too?
They're part of the pump. Yeah.
They're part of the pump, right? Well, could you tell us any more about that?
So the calf muscle is actually the lymphatic pump. So that's why walking is the best exercise, because you're moving lymphatic. You're moving the lymphatic system. And when you can move that and you're moving muscle, you're moving blood. But the calf, so somebody who, let's say they've had surgery and they're going to be in bed for a while, they need to be, pumping their feet, right? That's super important. And you'll see therapists come in and do that and push against it. But we need to be activating the calf muscle because that's really where that pump is. So yes, it's super important.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. Yeah. Ready for the next?
Yes. Go to the next. Okay. This is Dr. Klopp. Dr. Klopp was part of the Berlin Institute for Microcirculation. He has since passed, but He was
He was
really the
involved with the Beamer too,
Yes,
wasn't he?
yes,
Yeah.
definitely.
Okay.
Beamer brought him on board and said, "Wow, you know so much about this. We need to have you, kind of talk us through what this is." So Dr. Klopp was amazing at giving demonstrations. And in fact, in that back, see the yellow screen behind him
Yeah.
in this picture? And you guys can research him. He's amazing. All of his stuff is amazing. If you go to the next slide, it'll be that picture. So now this is a stagnant photo, right? It's not moving, but you can find this video online somewhere. I just was not able to find it. But on the left-hand side, do you see how the blood is moving slow, right? So this is before PEMF. And then you can tell on the right how quickly everything is moving. Can you see that just from the picture? You can see that just a snapshot of the blood moving. One of them is moving really slow and the other one is really moving quickly. So this is just an example of what he would did is he would find out what sinusoidal waves or sawtooth waves or square waves of PEMF would activate the smooth muscle in those arteries and out to the capillary level that would keep them pushing and at a more youthful rate. So think about this. When we're young and our heart is beating about 80 beats a minute, those little sphincter muscles clear out at the capillary level are beating at about or pushing blood at about 12 to 15 pumps a minute. Get to be our age and they're pumping about 1 to 3 times a minute. So go from childhood, 12 to 15 pumps a minute out at the capillary level, to middle age, 1 to 3 pumps a minute. That's aging. That's less oxygen, that's less micronutrients coming, and that's less waste removal. So that's illness, right? Waiting to happen. So PEMF is super helpful at allowing a more youthful state so we can function like we did when we were young.
Wow.
Go ahead and go to the next slide. Then the other part I love about this is,
by the way, there is I think Wayne had sent me a video and I'm just finding it. I'm looking for it, of the actual what you're describing with this the fluidity of the of the blood.
That's about 3 screens down, 2 or 3 screens down.
Oh, you do have the video.
I do have it. Yeah.
Okay, great.
I came prepared, David. Okay.
Oh, awesome. Because this picture doesn't do much for me.
No, but the next one, look at the next one.
Okay.
Now you can see this is blood flow before.
Oh.
And then beginning, and then during, and then after. Now you can really see the better blood flow.
This is with your feet on the P90 Plus.
Yeah, this is with PEMF. Yep.
Okay.
Now go to the next slide. And I think this is the crucial piece. The blood flow, this is after the person has been on the PEMF device. The blood is moving a lot faster. But do you see where the arrow's pointing? It's a white blood cell, right?
Okay.
When the blood is just chugging along and it's moving slower, the white blood cells are kind of moving with the plasma, with the platelets. They're just kind of in and moving with it. I kind of view this as they're in the parade instead of viewing the parade. But when you're on PEMF, what happens to that pulse wave is it starts to pull the white blood cells out towards the capillary wall, and they start to stroll a lot slower, and the plasma is running across them. So it's like watching the parade. It's a difference between being in the parade and watching the parade. When you're in the parade, you can only see what's around you, right? Those white blood cells can only see what's around them as far as foreign invaders. But when this magnetism happens and the pulse wave is happening and they get to kind of stroll along the capillary wall, now they can see everything and they're much more effective. So one session on PEMF will give you hours of better immune function because your white blood cells can actually start doing their job and the lymphatic system is working better. So that's a huge part of our immune system. In fact, it may be even more so, but they work together. So I think, this is super important. And then when you go to the next slide, this is another thing that PEMF does. This is inside the liver. So this is after about 2 weeks of doing PEMF, and you can see on the left there, it's super small. And then as you go through now on the right, everything is the same size. And there's that same venule moving lymph and blood through the liver.
Mm.
Isn't that awesome?
Yeah.
I mean, it's amazing what can happen when you give the body the right frequencies. And then the next slide is going to be that video that you're going to want to play. Oh, you know what? If that's a PDF, I don't think you can. Can you play it? You probably can't. Do you have?
You know what?
Do you have that video? Because that is really fun to see.
Let me. Now, did you send me the PDF or the actual PowerPoint?
I thought I sent you both, but I may have only sent you the.
Yeah, you just sent the PDF.
Okay. Do you have it there?
I don't.
I can see if I can grab it really quick.
Yeah, if you can, I think I can pull it up in a PowerPoint type. I don't use Bill Gates stuff, but I use Apple's. But and then I had Wayne's up, so let me see if I can find that again. Or Wayne, if you're listening and you have that, if you want to send that to me.
Sorry, guys, we thought we were a lot more prepared than we were.
Yeah, we're doing okay. You're more prepared than I am, so we're doing fine. I don't like people coming on more prepared than me. So, no,
well,
but you still are. You still are.
Let me go back here. Let me do. See if I can send you the PDF. Everybody, it's a bathroom break.
Exactly right.
Let me look here.
They know I don't take one, so they try to hold it, and they know the dogs are holding it too. So
this would be a good time to call your friends and invite them on.
Yes, exactly. Please share this out, my friends. Let's get this info in front of some beautiful people here.
Yeah, because this is the next tool you're going to want in your
Wayne has sent it to me, so I have it. Let me pull this up. Thank you, Wayne.
Thanks, Wayne.
And let me just pull him over here, and there we go. And now, okay, hold on, not ready for you yet. All right, let's see. Okay. All right, and I'll take that off and add the screen. And here we go.
Okay, so this is showing you what thick blood or acidic blood looks like. Everything clumps together, everything's sticky. Think about those small vessels, you know, that the one blood has red blood to get through. This is after PEMF. This is after a 20-minute session.
Wow.
Right?
Wow.
This is why we're seeing some of the amazing healing that people get, changes in their body because of better blood flow. If you want to play that again, play it again, because you can see how sticky and clumpy they are. Right? So that blood probably is starting to get kind of acidic, right? And everything's clumped together. And then after the PEMF, it literally just flows. I think that's just the light from the light in the center is just the light from the magnifying glass coming down.
Okay.
Or for the microscope, I guess it would be. But yeah, isn't that amazing?
Wow.
So now we can see if PEMF changes the blood viscosity, it makes it a little bit thinner, and then we have action with the smooth muscle in the cardiovascular system, getting that blood out to the tissue. Now, what can the body do? Right? What can the body do when it has better blood? Better blood equals better everything, right?
Right.
Okay, so then if you go to the next screen, it's basically just talking about what PEMF does. And I think the biggest thing that people need to recognize is the lack of blood flow equals pain. If you have pain somewhere, it's because you've had lack of blood flow there. And it can cause deterioration, having the lack of blood flow, that acidity, you know, that's what causes, you know, the joints to get, you know, kind of calcified. But lack of blood flow equals pain. And lack of blood flow causes inflammation, which causes pain. So If we can get better blood flow to the tissue, then we can remove inflammation, and then we can relieve pain. And PEMF has been studied. You can go to pubmed.gov and type in pulsed electromagnetic field or PEMF and inflammation, PEMF and pain, PEMF, and you will find articles where PEMF has been studied and clinically trialed. Yeah, so it's great. But now let's get to the terahertz part. Go to the next slide.
So we're leaving PMF to going into terahertz. Okay.
Terahertz, and literally this is one slide because terahertz is so amazing. So in a wave pattern, we have, if you can see my hand, you have gigahertz, right? So it's a fairly large wave. And then you have hertz. And then terahertz is more like kind of a ripple across the water. It's a very short wave. It activates water molecules in the body. So if we can activate water molecules in the body, then we raise cellular voltage. And we know that disease states begin when cellular voltage starts to go low. If it gets too low, we get sick. So now, not only do we have PEMF that's getting better blood flow out to the cell, but now we have the terahertz coming in, and it's very low level. It's 1 terahertz. That's all, that the machine only goes up to 1 terahertz, but it's just enough to ignite cells to function at a higher rate, higher efficiency, higher efficacy. Everything is better. The voltage is raised so that now we start coming out of that disease state and we move into better health. When I first got my machine, I was thinking, oh, this is going to be like Beamer and Healy on steroids, or if they had a baby.
Right.
Well, what they did is they had a Superman baby. This combination, I call it the secret sauce. It's those 2 frequencies coming together. And I believe that's what they were looking for on the 90th try, is bringing these 2 frequencies together that just ignited the body into super healing and more expressive healing. I know for me, I've used PEMF, nutraceuticals, all kinds of stuff, and never has my eyesight gotten better. But 2 weeks into using this device, and we were driving home, and I looked at Stephen and I said, I'm not wearing my glasses. And of course, he's like, where are they? You're driving. Where are they? And I'm like, no, they're right there in the center console. I just didn't reach for them. And I haven't worn my glasses since to drive. Now, some people have said, well, are your eyes getting better? And I'm like, well, I'd have to go to an eye doctor, right, to kind of know.
Right.
Well, a couple months ago, I went down to cut my mom's hair. We cut each other's hair, and that's up close. People who do hairdressing, they know that that's up close.
Yeah.
I went to leave and get my water bottle, and my reader glasses were next to my water bottle. And I looked at her and I said, Mom, I cut your hair without putting my readers on. And she said, does that mean I got a bad haircut? And I said, no, I just didn't think to reach for them. Like I was doing just fine. So yes, my eyes have consistently gotten better. And our eyes have the smallest vessels in the body, 3 to 7 micrometers. So if I'm getting better blood flow in my eyes, which is helping reduce inflammation and getting nutrients there so that my eyes can function better, what other areas of my body am I healing more quickly than I was without this technology? And then I always go to pets.
It was this one, yeah?
Actually, it was the P90 Plus. I hadn't even
Is
gotten
that
my
right?
yet.
Oh, wow. So your eyesight got better on the P90 Plus.
Yes.
Okay.
That's why I tout that as the foundational piece, and
Wow.
everything is just a beautiful add-on. What you have right there is from the same company. It's the Galaxy One goggles. That also has a very light form of PEMF, so it stimulates the brain. It has compression, like when you go sit in one of those chairs, those what do you call them? Massage chairs, where it pumps up and then it lets go. That's what this does all around your eye. So it's relaxing, and then it has heat. So it's really a beautiful thing. Laying in bed right before you go to bed, and you do 15 minutes of that, and it's just amazing. But I did get my eyesight started to change prior to getting those Galaxy One goggles. That's why I look at the P90 Plus as the foundational piece. And then I always look at animals because animals kind of know, right? So if you go to the next slide, David.
Oh, by the way,
Mhm.
just so you know, you know how you mentioned pulling up the um, PubMed. So I
Oh,
pulled up pulse electromagnetic field, or PEMF, or PEMS. And the first one that pops up is veterinary applications of pulsed electromagnetic field therapy. And there are 4,852 results
everything
of
always starts in the veterinary field and then
PEMF.
slowly moves into the, the natural realm.
Yeah.
Red lasers were that way. Red lasers, it was approved for veterinarians first, but then the rancher would come up to the vet and say, "Hey, can you do that on my shoulder?"
Right.
shoulder?
Right.
So it kind of moved into that. But yes,
486 pages on PubMed, folks. PubMed.gov.
.gov.
And okay, so here we go.
Yeah.
There we go.
So the next and final slide I want to show
Oh.
you was that we have a cat who's deaf, and he's a wonderful little cat, but he loves the Beamer, has always loved the Beamer, but he loves the Oli more. So Dave, if you can go back to my slideshow and you can see now, this cat never sits on my husband's lap.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Never.
This is yeah.
This
Okay.
cat never sits on my husband's lap, but look at him.
Wow.
It's because
Wow.
there's the Oli involved, and he will literally, I'll pull the Oli out of my bag, and on the right-hand side, he's sitting on it waiting. It's
Wow.
not even turned on yet. He's waiting, and he'll just sit there and he'll patiently, and then when he sees the light come on and I've got my feet on it, and then I'll motion for him to come up, he comes up and he puts 2 paws on one leg and 2 paws on the other, and he just stands there and he waits to feel it. And then he'll curl up and he'll lay there. So
Wow.
even if you have a small child, right, that you can't put their feet on the plate, you can hold your child and they're getting this great frequency. So it's and I always look at animals. Animals instinctively know what's good. And it's just been really cool. Yeah. And then when they're done, they're done. They just kind of, he'll get up and go, okay, 13 minutes is good. And he walks away. So
Wow.
yeah, so that's the first. I don't know if you want to go more in depth on the actual devices. That's kind of next in there if you want to look at them. What would your readers, or I always call them your readers, I guess, reading the chat. What would your listeners like to talk about now?
Yeah, why don't we talk about, first of all, folks, if you have any questions, if you would put them in the chat, and we'll ask Maria some of those questions. But we could, while I'm waiting on the questions, we could go through the different products. This is the one that I have.
Mhm.
This is the P90 Plus. And could you talk about these 2 devices?
Yes. So the P90 Plus, there is a P90, which doesn't have the attachments. I always have people move to the P90 Plus because you can't purchase these attachments separately. The company has not made them available. But they call it a Frost Age Beauty Wand. What it has is radio frequency and electric muscle stimulation for collagen and elastin. So you can use that on your face. You can use it on other parts of your body. The one on the right-hand side is the Revitalux massager, and it has the capability of red light, right? We were talking about red light. So it has red light. It has the electric muscle stimulation. It has heat, and it has vibration. So it has all of that being delivered to, just different areas. Whether, like, if somebody comes into my clinic, I'll ask them, are you experiencing pain in your body somewhere? And if they say, oh, my shoulders, yeah, David's showing it to you right now. If they have pain in their shoulder or their knees or whatever, I'll just plug in the claw. We call it the claw because it's got those 3 prongs.
Yeah, it's kind of like
the claw.
Yeah. It feels good even when it's not on.
Yeah, and I'll have them doing that on their shoulder or their neck or their, hips or wherever, and while they have their feet on the P90 Plus. So I always have people really intentionally look at this one over just the P90. Now, I know Wayne has both. He has P90 at home and he has his P90 Plus at his office. And so it's nice to be able to have those attachments, but the P90 by itself is definitely the same technology. It's a 30-minute session instead of a 20-minute session, so it's a little bit different there.
And so the P90 is 30 minutes. The P90 Plus is only 20 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Velma says, I had knee replacement surgery last year. Can I use it?
You can. So joint replacements prior to 2001 have a metal alloy in them that does heat up. So if you have old joint replacements, you're going to want to be really careful using a device like this and maybe not use the full 20 minutes. But I have somebody that drives 45 minutes once a week for 4 minutes on my device because she gets such great results with 4 minutes. And so if there is somebody that has joint replacements that are prior, they got them prior to 2021 or 2001, then they may want to just do a lot lower intensity and for a shorter period of time. There are also some surgical plastics. I've not researched exactly what those are used for, but with heat, they can melt. Terahertz does bring up heat in the body, right? Higher cellular voltage equals heat. So we want to be really careful with those two things. But yes, my mom has had a hip replacement. My dad has a knee replacement. They do just fine. All kinds of, there's all kinds of testimonials for that. Yes.
Okay. Awesome. Swanee says, what about ED? Erectile dysfunction. I'm not, we got any testimonials on that?
I don't think anybody's been brave enough to put that in the chat on a Facebook page, but when we're talking about vasodilation, right, we're talking about better circulation, and ED can a lot of times be from high blood sugar or erratic blood sugar levels. So guess what the P90 Plus does is it can reduce inflammation and lower blood sugar. In fact, in the manual, it will say, they've made it very broad. It says all diabetes. And I've asked them, can you please put in your manual unmonitored blood sugar issues? Because diabetes is too broad of a stroke, right? That can be from pre-diabetes to brittle diabetic, right? And really what it helps with is it reduces inflammation and we see blood sugar levels come down. I have a gentleman that he went home and tested his blood sugar before he came, his glucose before he came, and after he went home, and it was down 20 points. So we see some really great things. But if it's unmonitored, you just want to be really careful.
How long can you use it per day, and how long do the effects last? Oh, and by the way, Wayne, his blood sugar is, he's off all his diabetes meds because of this device. Yep,
that's happening. Yeah, somebody put the claw. Yeah, remember from Liar Liar, the claw. Okay, so
and by the way, I'm sorry to, but I think, Wayne said, I have some guys that are getting great results with PEMF and their erectile dysfunction.
Wonderful. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you,
Awesome.
Wayne.
Yeah, thanks for adding that in. So we were asking about, what was the last thing that was asked
about?
How
long can you use it per day, and how long do the effects last?
So this, as a practitioner, this is what I recommend, because we are subjected to these frequencies in our normal life. There are terahertz and there's PEMF, right? But this is coming together in a very, in a very synergistic way that is directed to your body. So it doesn't say this in the manual, but what I recommend is once a day for the first week. So 1 time a day for the first week, and then go to 2 times a day. A session is 20 minutes. However, when you first put your feet on, the plates don't heat up, but what you will feel the first time or within the first couple of minutes, even at intensity 1, is you will feel some heat in your ankles. And we're looking for just a nice radiating heat. We don't want anything to be extreme. We want kind of like sauna warm, not heating pad hot. Then you'll know that it's working, but you're not pushing the body to do more than it's ready for. And so if you do a lower intensity 1 or maybe intensity 2, once a day for that first week. And then the following week, then you can bump it up to do one session in the morning and one session at night. And then just allow your ankles to be your guide. I probably touch people's ankles more than they've ever had their ankles touched by anybody, because that's how I gauge. I'll go up and I'll get a baseline. Okay, what's your body temperature now? And then we'll put it on intensity 1 for a couple minutes. I'll go back and touch their ankles. If it's not really getting that warm, then we may bump it up to intensity 2. But in somebody's first session, we rarely go above a 3. That's really rare. Normally, people start really feeling it. And we want to be really careful that we're not pushing the body to do more, because we all have varying levels of resources to give. And if we're asking our body to push more blood and increase cellular voltage, guess what we're doing? We're using our resources, right? So, and we may not think to add in electrolytes or something, in the book, I talk about that, but we may not think to do that. So, better hydration, and then just honor the body and go slow, go low, go slow. People get so many benefits with just intensity 1. I try to pitch that, because there's a lot of people who get on it and go, I want to get to intensity 10 right away. And I'm like, no, don't do that. Allow your body to tell you the intensity that it needs. And
I have a tendency to go max out on stuff.
No, not you.
Yeah, right. And I take the excuse I'm 240 pounds, 6'8", so I'm like 2 people, so I might as well bump it up, right?
Might as well bump it up, right? More is better, not in this.
Yeah.
And so the effects
But
are.
I've noticed the difference, by the way, after talking to you. Did we talk yesterday or the day before?
The day before.
Okay. And I, since talking to you, I toned down, because I was feeling like a lot of heat in my legs, an uncomfortable heat. And when I toned down, it just felt better. It felt like it was doing more with less.
So think of it this way. We're putting our feet on plates that are providing electricity and voltage. And our body does not like to be electrocuted at all, right? We shun away from it. So what I tell people is a perfect session would be you having your feet on the P90 Plus, and you never once think about the heat in your ankles, but they're warm.
Okay.
But you're not thinking about it, right? That would be the perfect session. And if that is intensity 1 from now for the next 5 years, you're getting more than 99% of the population in this beautiful frequencies, the synergistic frequencies coming together to assist you. And you'll probably notice that you just have a renewed, you won't deplete your reserves as quickly as somebody who, in fact, I had somebody in Canada, she got her device and she went right to 7. She muscle tested and she was like, oh, it said I could do 7. And I'm like, how are you feeling? And she said, well, it's really warm all the way up to my hips. And I thought, is it uncomfortable? And she said, no, not at all. And so I just told her, I said, well, I start people at 1, just so you know, I don't muscle test. I just start people at 1. I want to feel the heat in their ankles. That's what I want. Okay. And about a month later, she texted me and she said, are you having anybody having painful legs when they put their feet on the P90 Plus? And I said, no, I'm not. But I knew what was happening is she burned through her reserves. And now when she would get back on it, her body was like, oh, we don't have enough resources for this, right? And so I told her, I said, you may want to do every other day on intensity 1 for a good week, and then start adding in some electrolytes, start bringing in better nutrition to support your body, because it wants to work faster. It wants to work more efficient, but we all have deficiencies somewhere. We just don't know where they are. So the go low, go slow method is so much better for every single person, because we don't have gas gauges on us to find out what systems, organs, and glands and tissues are low in reserves, right? We need to just allow our body to kind of tell us what we need, and instead of, blasting it right away.
Yeah. RPS says, does it help with neuropathy due to chemo years ago?
So that's harder because the chemo can do damage. But yes, there's been some great testimonials with neuropathy, both for medically induced, like the chemo, and like diabetic neuropathy, or even just inflammation. And what we have to remember in just regular neuropathy, maybe not chemically damaged, but regular neuropathy, The nerves are still active. The brain is just really good at shutting stuff off when it hurts. The brain recognizes inflammation, and that equals pain. And therefore, I'm going to start shutting everything down. Well, PEMF and terahertz combined can start waking up that tissue, waking up the nerves, because now we got better blood flow, right? And so we still have to go really slow. We don't want to hit it hard. We want to go really slow because that tissue may not be ready to be pain-free yet all the way. So we just have to go really slow and just allow the body, to do its thing. Someone also asked about, I can't remember what it said, hypoglycemic.
Okay.
Hypoglycemia, so that's when the blood sugar dips too low, and then you kind of get that, hangry, and then potentially it could be really harmful. You would really want to monitor yourself on this. However, if you were to add in some really good adrenal support and B vitamins, that is where hypoglycemia stems from. Is the adrenals are really, really tired. And so how you feed them is B vitamins. So that's what I would be adding in. That's my little personal gift to you, is just, do 2-3 times what the label says on a B vitamin and really start giving your adrenals some great support so that you don't have those huge swings.
Somebody said that that Amazon has this for $550, Marie.
Yeah, and you also look at that and it'll say heated plates. It doesn't have, it's not the same technology. We have to be really careful. It's not the same technology. It'll say massage plates and heated plates. These plates don't produce any heat. The terahertz creates the heat within us. So you got to be really, really careful. They would be really good for heating up your feet if you have cold feet, and maybe for a massage, because they have the PEMF. They say they have terahertz, but terahertz produces heat on its own. So in your body, it doesn't, the plates don't heat up. So I would be really cautious.
Yeah. And there's always going to be knockoffs,
There are.
but not with the same, credibility, because we're getting, we're hearing a lot of incredible results about this.
Well, and this company has 168 utility and design patents on not only the technology they have now, but what will be coming later. They're revolutionary in bringing stuff to us. So they have 168 patents, and not all of them. Some of that hasn't even been established and built yet, and it's not even out on the market. But they have a lot of utility and design patents for what they have right now.
Are you getting a lot of feedback on the 2 attachments?
Yes.
Can you tell me a little bit about what you're...
So I have a gentleman. Well, just for pain, it's been huge. For back pain, for any kind of joint pain, shoulder pain, neck, all of that. Hair growth, running the claw through your dry hair.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yep. Stimulates that. And the beauty wand. I have a gentleman, he is 78, and he does the gel, and he does the Frost Age Beauty Wand on his forearms because he doesn't like his crepiness. And then I saw a picture of him recently on Facebook, and I'm like, oh, he has a filter on, because I just was like, oh, he's got a filter, And then I found out it wasn't a filter. I was shocked. I was like, oh, he looks so good. So he uses the claw and the Frost Age Beauty, because the Frost Age Beauty Wand has the radio frequency. So that helps with build collagen and elastin, but it doesn't get so hot that it burns face fat internally. We don't want that heat, right? They've got it at the right temperature so that as you're moving it, it'll be warm, but it won't be too hot. And then he uses the claw because it has the red light. So he uses both of them. Trying to think what other people have. Oh, plantar fasciitis. Oh my gosh, I've got a pickleball player.
Okay.
She bought a machine because her pickleball game got better, because she did her feet on the plate. And then after she was done, she took the claw and she went all the way down, her foot. And within that time period, about 30 minutes total, she got up and started walking, and she was like, I am in no pain. And so then she went to play pickleball, and she called me and she said, I want to come back in next week for another session. Well, the day before she came for that second session, her plantar fasciitis started kind of aching again. And so she did it again and had the same results, had better gain.
Mhm.
And then the next week she brought a check and said, okay, I need to get this machine. So she was beating people at pickleball. Another great thing with the claw. Oh my gosh. So I have a friend who had a brain bleed stroke back in October, and I got my machine the end of September. So she had this brain bleed stroke, which affected her shoulder, her elbow, her wrists, and her hand. And I saw her about 6 weeks, 5 weeks maybe into her physical therapy. She had gotten her range of motion and strength back in her shoulder and her elbow, but her wrist was still, and her hand was still collapsing. So she came in, we put her feet on the plates, and then she used the claw the whole time to just push up through her hand the whole time at the wrist. She just used it the whole 20 minutes. And when we got done, she held her hand out like this. And she said, Maria, I haven't been able to hold my hand out straight like this since this happened. And I said, well, that's really awesome. I'm still kind of in shock, like, wow, that's kind of cool. And then I said, let's see how long that lasts. Well, we started talking, and then slowly we could see her fingers, kind of start collapsing in again. And she said, can I come tomorrow? And I said, absolutely, you can come tomorrow. So she did. She came the next day. She sat in the chair and she said, I have something to tell you. And I said, what's that? And she said, my right hand helped me get dressed today. And feeling teary now. We both kind of got teary. And I'm like, one session and you got strength back in your hand. She goes, I've been in physical therapy since this happened. And one session, the next morning, she had strength enough to pull up her socks.
How long was she in physical therapy?
She had been in physical therapy for 5 weeks, maybe 6 weeks.
Wow.
And then within a week and a half, it might have been 2 weeks, she was able to get the strength back in her hand, her right hand, the same as her left. So she was able to get her strength back, and now she's functioning fine. So yeah.
Colleen says, I have team members that are so happy with the P90 Plus and their neuropathy. And also Nancy said that George has had improvement in his neuropathy. So a lot of good feedback on neuropathy. Now, you mentioned the hands and the stability. Marie's asking about Parkinson's. Does there?
Yeah, I don't have any specifics on that, but I have heard great things. Wayne may have somebody who has a testimony about that. But again, we're talking about the whole nervous system. And that's what PEMF and Terahertz do, is they resolve issues in the nervous system. They balance the nervous system.
Yeah. And it's we could really talk about almost every ailment and say, does it work on this, or does it work on this, or does it work on this? And certainly some of the toughest, like Moonbeam says, please talk more about how it helps feet neuropathy. And also Gusto says, what about peripheral neuropathy, from 40 plus years of diabetes?
Yeah.
And so certainly we're going to talk about the tough ones. Like neuropathy is a tough one, right?
And what I always say is, if the body can heal, and if we can get blood to the cells know what to do, right? It's like that prayer, plead the blood to the cell. Not really tangible until you have something like this where you're like, oh, plead the blood to the cell, get the blood to the cell, and the cell knows what to do, right?
Ah, okay.
I know it brought in a whole new aspect of that. Just prayer, is like, wow, plead the perfect blood to the cell, because the cell knows what to do. If the body hasn't been damaged to the point of non-repair, and we can get blood to the cell will start its repair process. And so it might, for some people, be an overnighter, right? With Cheryl and her hand. For some people, it may take weeks. We've had people, tinnitus is gone in one session, and we've had other people that it took a while, and we've had some people that it's not clearing up yet. So I always look at the entire body, because that's how I kind of grew up in this framework that I'm doing, is that if you've tried everything and you've brought in nutrition and you've cleaned your gut up and you're getting absorption, and you're trying the electroceuticals and you're doing all this, and you're still having some issues, Then we need to look at the emotional component. And that's the part that a lot of people miss, is the emotional component that keeps our human emotion is the glue. Human emotion is the glue that keeps the issues in the tissues. So we have to be looking at the body as a whole. Now, the P90 Plus, how can it help in that regard? Oh my gosh, it can, because it's helping Terahertz help to dredge the meridians, the energy pathways of the body. And in doing so, we have the heart meridian. And so we have sadness, sorrow, and regret that starts to fade away. We have pancreas, no sweetness left in life. We have kidneys, about fear. We have liver is about anger, gallbladders about bitterness. So we have all of these different energy pathways that touch all of these organs. And when you have an electroceutical come in that can just tap into all of that, then all of a sudden you have to start releasing the glue. You start releasing the emotion that's keeping that issue, whatever it is, in your tissue. So I love this machine because it works on the blood flow, yes, and it works on the cellular function, yes. But then in that, you're getting better neurotransmitters. So guess what? You're happier. I had someone leave the other day, and she said, after her first session, she goes, well, I didn't really feel so much after my first session, but I was a lot happier. And I'm like, well, that was your neurotransmitters, right? So that's better blood flow to the brain, and the better blood flow in the gut. So we're producing everything differently. So with neuropathy, we're looking at nutritional, and we're looking at inflammation, and we don't know what's inflaming us. So we have to be really diligent about looking at our food, the people we surround ourselves with, our environment, what we're drinking, what we're bringing in, and all of that will play a part in the inflammation part. You can do hair analysis, you can do the ALCAT blood testing to find out what foods you are kind of intolerant to that cause inflammation. That can be super helpful. Sometimes neuropathy is just a B12 deficiency. Sometimes it's a magnesium deficiency. All of us are deficient in something. Yeah.
And there's a lot of testimonials on lower back pain and just pain in general. Yes.
Yes. Tons. Yep.
Awesome.
Someone's saying, I had a pacemaker put in a year ago, and then a month later had a brain bleed. So anyone who has a pacemaker, that is a contraindication, because we're talking about electricity, voltage, and we don't want to do anything to any stimulator that's put in the body that functions on an electrical basis. First off, we don't want the device to falter, right? We don't want to lose you. Right. If you have a spinal stimulator that's helping you with pain, we certainly don't want to mess that up, right? Because if that's helping you with pain. So again, we're looking at, those are a couple of the contraindications that are sort of like a no, I'm sorry. But you can use other, mild PEMF just through the feet, like the Vitality Wand would be a good one to just, blow on your feet. So you're getting some PEMF. But yeah, you wouldn't want to put your feet on the plates.
If you have what?
Pacemaker or.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's also, and because it's electrical, reactive hypoglycemia. Will this hurt me? Air Force girl wants to know. And I don't know.
We talked a little bit about the hypoglycemic, and you would need to really test. So something like that, it wouldn't hurt you, but you certainly would want to just build up. You might want to do 1 minute at intensity 1 for your first time, and then check your blood sugar before and after. Again, just monitoring. And that's the one thing that I don't like about the manual that they put out, is it's very, you get concerned because you're reading. I was like, well, this is 80% of the population can't do this. And that's why I've asked them, you need to say unmonitored blood pressure, because it will reduce your blood pressure. It reduces inflammation, right? Unmonitored blood sugar, because it will bring your blood sugar down because it's reducing inflammation. All of those are inflammatory disease states. Is the inflammation is up, and now we have the cardiovascular system struggling, and we have the endocrine system struggling. So it will start to normalize. I still am carrying a lot of postmenopausal weight right now, and I have the lowest blood pressure I've ever had, 119/77. I'm like, what? So it does bring your blood pressure down.
Nancy says her A1C went from 8 to 5, and I don't know what that is.
That's an inflammatory marker in the body.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
And is that a big jump?
That's huge. Yeah. Congratulations. Okay. That's great.
Awesome, Nancy.
Somebody had also put in here
the red light there, incandescent or LED. I think all red light is
LED.
LED.
It's LED. It's not laser. Doesn't come with glasses, so it's not that. Can you use the attachments while you have your feet on the plate? Yes, you can use them at the same time. You just don't want to use the attachments on your ankles or near your feet, because if you were to touch the plate and your foot at the same time with another metal source, guess what you're doing? You're creating a whole new circuitry and you will get shocked.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you got to really respect this machine, what it's doing.
And Sue says, what is better, red light or this? This has red light
in it
mm-hmm. with the wand.
Mm-hmm.
But
they both kind of do different things.
Yeah.
Just like what you're going to say, David. They just do different. They're different aspects. Personally, being in this business, and a nutraceutical is a supplement and an electroceutical is a device. So this would be considered an electroceutical. A nutraceutical is more like a supplement, vitamin, herb, that type of combination is a nutraceutical. So out of everything I've used, I haven't seen as much regeneration, restoration for people, except for this device. I can pretty much guarantee that if I put 10 people on this device, 9 of them are going to get off the machine and go, oh my gosh, like I feel better on some level, whether it's like the gal who said, I didn't feel anything physical, but I sure was happier, right? Or, oh my gosh, I slept so much better. I slept deeper than I've slept. That's what we hear a lot. That's a big one. Or, oh my gosh, I can go up the stairs. My knees aren't hurting. So it reduced some inflammation. So even urination, someone had put in there prostatitis or prostate inflammation. I don't know specifically what from, but yes, I had a gentleman, he was only on intensity one. He's a truck driver for 31 years. So all of that pounding, and he was not in a good place below the belt. And he got up from his session. We did it on intensity 1 because he had so much going on in his system. I'm like, we're just going to do intensity 1. And I really watched him through that whole session because I wasn't sure if he even needed 20 minutes, but he did do the 20 minutes, got up to go to the bathroom, came back, and he goes, that's the best pee I've had in months. So it was, a better stream, didn't have to palpate to get rid of urine out of the bladder. So lots of great things. I mean,
that's why that's another reason why they call it the P90 Plus, right?
P90. Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's so funny. Yes.
Any thoughts on muscular dystrophy? Have we seen anything with that?
FDS? No, I haven't. I don't have anybody in my realm.
Yeah.
But people are always welcome to go. Even to just chat GPT and just put in PEMF, pulsed electromagnetic field therapy, and the issue.
Yeah.
And just see what comes up. Or go to pubmed.gov and put it in there and see if you can find anything related to that.
Yeah. And Velma wants to know, how will she know if it's if there's too much? And you, like, I think you covered that. If it gets warm,
it gets too hot. And a lot of people will override that. But again, my little niche in my work, my forte is looking at people's symptoms. The body talks to us in 2 ways: internal voice and physical symptoms or physical feelings. And we ignore them. So think about this. You're on Facebook. I have to pee. I'm not going to go. I can hold it. But if your dog comes to you, or your dog is scratching at the door to get out to go to the bathroom, guess what you do? Forget Facebook. We're going to go open the door, right?
Right.
Or if your dog comes to you with a water dish in its mouth, but you haven't had any water, but yet you've had, oh, I should go get some water. Oh, I should go get some water. If you've had those thoughts throughout the day or throughout that last couple of hours, that was your body talking to you. So it's really important that we get back to that state of really respecting how the body's responding to this or anything else we do, whether it's this or something else. Really respect what your thoughts are. So again, that was when I said my perfect session would be to sit down with my feet on the plates and never once think about having my feet on it again, right through that whole 20 minutes. Because then I know that my body isn't putting up any resistance to the electricity and voltage that's coming to me. That's the perfect session. So how you know you're done, I have had times where I've done it at night. I usually use a lower setting at night because it just kind of lulls me into this night's sleep. But I have had times where all of a sudden I'll just kind of feel restless inside, like, even at that lower intensity, like, I'm just kind of feeling restless. And I look down and maybe I've only done 6 minutes. Well, I'm done with that session. If I'm not comfortable, I go, I'm done.
Interesting.
That's all my body needed, right? Now, normally we would push through, right? Because the timer's ticking down and we gotta go 20 minutes, gotta go 20 minutes. But we don't have to. I see great results with somebody that drives 45 minutes to use my machine for 4 minutes,
Wow.
Yeah. So again, it's this great tool that you just have to honor the body every time that you put your feet on it.
That's awesome. And so much of this, right, is helping us to get in tune with our body as well.
Absolutely. 100%.
To really listen to our body. Like that's probably one of the, biggest things we could do for our health is just really kind of tap into
And we
how
don't
am
know
I
what's
feeling?
coming. And we don't know what's coming, right?
Yeah.
We kind of have an idea. We have an inkling of what's coming. And what we need to do is we need to be really prepared for our family, for ourselves and our family. That's the biggest thing. When you don't know what you have in your hands when you have this device. We don't know. We do know because of what we see that it's incredible, but really we don't know what we have and how this could potentially be impactful for us, as we move forward.
I know this isn't multiple or muscular dystrophy, but Wayne says that he has 2 people getting great results that have multiple sclerosis. And I'm not very familiar with the differences in those 2 things, but that's pretty amazing.
Well,
Yeah.
And we're looking at a device that addresses the nervous system. Can you go down to the very, very bottom of my slideshow?
Sure. And
Like
right
there's
here?
Yes. Okay, so go even farther. Just go down a little bit more. I'm trying to let me see.
That's the last
Let me see what slide it is. Let me see what slide I have it as. Because this is really powerful. Go to slide 31. Yeah, go to slide 31. It's a 2 above that or 1 above that. Okay, so I have a device called the Smart Pulse, and it shows you the age of your veins and arteries, and then it also shows you your variable heart rate of how your body's dealing with stress. So embarrassingly, this is me. Okay, so I want you to look at wherever it's red, that is the gas pedal. Wherever it's green or blue is the brake pedal, but we really want everything to be balanced in the middle. So on that left slide is a scan of me prior to doing a P90 Plus, and you can see my physical stress in the red, gas pedal, gas pedal, gas pedal.
Wow.
Emotional, mental, look at, I'm at a 2 out of 100, I'm at 2. Wow. And then the overall stress is gas pedal, but now look at the autonomic nervous system. The autonomic nervous system is both the gas pedal and the brake pedal, how they balance and work together. That's the entire autonomic nervous system. And look at, I'm gas pedal before. Then I do a 20-minute session.
Now, could you, before you move on, could you talk about the bottom autonomic nerve balance? And what does NSS dominant mean?
So we have 2 parts to our nervous system. The autonomic nervous system is the umbrella, and then we have the gas pedal, which is the sympathetic system, and we have the brake pedal, which is the parasympathetic system. So we have the gas and the brake, and we want to run it like a car. We're going, and then we take our foot off the gas and we're braking. But many of us, me included, are running with the gas pedal, pedal to the metal, pedal to the metal, pedal, and we're trying to brake, right?
I see.
We're
Yeah,
trying
yeah.
to brake.
Okay.
And that depletes our system so quickly because we never let off the gas. So when I
Okay.
see my autonomic nervous system in the red, I'm like, Maria, you need to settle down, take some of your settle down pills and take a nap and just relax, right? But look at my P90 Plus after scan. So mental or my physical kind of moved up more towards normal. My mental went right in the middle, right? So now I'm like, okay, I'm dealing with stress better emotionally, mentally. I'm dealing with things better. And then the overall came up to the middle. But look at my autonomic nervous system. And I feel like that is something that both Stephen and I have felt. I bet probably about 2.5 to 3 weeks in of using the P90 Plus, we were driving to work. And I just said, I just feel like I've got this little internal excitement that I haven't had in a long time. Like if you're going to go on a trip or you've got a friend coming to visit or something. And someone on a Facebook group said, I feel so much brighter. And I went, that's it. I feel brighter. Everything's brighter. The cones in my eyes are seeing differently. I'm seeing brighter. I have a different outlook. So when that happens, how do you think you deal with stress? A lot better, right? It's just more, there's more flow, there's more give and take, there's more adaptability. It's not the rigid, knee-jerk reaction and I'm super angry. It's more like, oh, plot twist. Okay, I guess we're doing this now, and that's the ease of that. So now if you go to the next one, this is the next slide that this little device, the Smart Pulse, shows you your arterial elasticity, which we just talked about with the whole cardiovascular system, right?
Right.
So on the left side, do you see the arterial elasticity? That's the green one on the top and how pulled back it is from 100%.
Yeah.
And then look at the right, this is afterwards.
Whoa.
So my peripheral was okay, but my arterial elasticity was not high.
Wow.
Which means I'm not dealing with stress well, right? And then if you go to that next one, that was the first one you pulled up. This is a friend of mine, Julie. After I did my test, I went, oh, wow, I want to see how other people are. I know this might be hard for your viewers to see because it's smaller, but you can see she was kind of the same as me. Physically, she was okay in the green, but mentally she was down, right? And so she was kind of in the same place. And look at her arterial health, right? On the right-hand side there, where the green is, it's pulled back, right? And then if you come over to the other side, this is the after one. And look at that. It's friggin' balanced.
Wow.
And look at her arterial.
Yeah, 60 to 98. And how many, wait a minute, this is just after one session?
It's one session. One session.
Now, wow. And are these results lasting, or do you need to keep up the sessions? Have you looked at that at all?
I recognize that the company says to at least have 4 hours in between sessions. Do 2 sessions a day, work yourself up to 2 sessions a day, but make them 4 hours apart. To me, that says that you have about a 4-hour window of residual effect. Some PEMF have longer, right? But this one, I think, now I haven't clarified that with Paul or anyone for the higher levels, but why else would they say 4 hours in between, right? There's a 4-hour window of better circulation, better blood flow, better oxygenation at the cell, better micronutrient delivery to the cell, better waste removal from the cell, and better immune support for 4 hours.
You mentioned the other thing too is that all along it's helping the body just be healthier, be lighter, be brighter, be better circulation. So it's opening things up. Like, you could do it once a week and you're going to be far better off than not doing it at all. Wouldn't you? Right? Because you're awakening these types of things in your body. You mentioned the circuitry, not the circuitry, but the cellular. It gives a jump start, if you will, to the cells.
Voltage increase.
Could you speak to that for a moment, please?
Well, when we go into a really acidic state, our cells start to function slower and less vibrant. We feel dull, we feel apathetic, we feel maybe some illness symptoms. That's what happens when that's why we get ill, is everything just kind of comes down. And we are energetic beings. We're electrical beings. We can be electrocuted. So therefore, we are just a whole bunch of batteries that can be electrocuted. And what the terahertz does is it starts to ignite. The terahertz makes the water molecules in the body vibrate a little faster. And when you can do that, think about how much we're almost all water, right? And if you have that vibratory rate, all the cells start to feel more alive, more energetic, more capable of regaining balance and finding restoration. So I believe that is the secret sauce, because PEMF alone, I haven't seen do that. PEMF is amazing. I have a device I've used for 15 years. And I've seen great results with it, but it's a longer time to get there. This I'm seeing, like I said, if I put 10 people on it, I for sure that 9 people are going to walk away going, okay, that was different. That was something I haven't felt before. Even my massage therapist that's upstairs in my office, her first time on it, she could only go to intensity 1 because her ankles got really warm. And she's had 3 car accidents that have affected her neck and her jaw. And about, I don't know how many minutes it was in, somewhere in that 20-minute session, she said, wow, I'm really feeling this in my neck and my jaw. And of course, I went to, are you feeling okay? Because if you're feeling pain, we want to stop, right? And she said, no. She goes, it's just sort of reminding me that it's there. And so she got done with the session. And then all of a sudden, she started not crying, but her eyes started just watering. Well, she had been experiencing some dry eye. And all of a sudden, her eyes were just weepy. And I had to give her a tissue even. She goes, I promise I'm not crying. But that was one session. That was just one session of waking up the body, waking up. And that's what I feel like this combination does, is it wakes up the body to just do more and do it more effectively.
Do you think this could help Joe Biden?
I think it could help anybody where better blood flow could help that person. That's
or whoever's wearing the mask, I guess we should.
Or whoever's there. Yeah.
Exactly.
I just feel like I feel really passionate about when I think about red light and going back to that calcium ion channel and how it was planted prior to us needing it. And we live in this benevolent universe that just wants to give to us.
How stuff just shows up when we need it.
It just shows up. And people are inspired to bring things out because we need it. Hydroxychloroquine,
ivermectin.
They don't even know why we need it, but we need it. And then I really believe that this is one of those devices that if you can afford to get it, just get it. If you can't afford to get it, find somebody who has one and pay them for sessions to start using it. I just feel like it can impact so many people. This can be a game changer for so many people.
I wanted to share my site for everybody, snedpemf.com, and I'll pull that up. And this is how we're kind of sharing this this device, and we are this is the reason why Nancy and Wayne brought this to me, was to help with my just to raise money for my show, and this could be the thing that I'm seeing with this, and you tell me, but this is, the game taught me how to push my body. Experience taught me how to take care of it. This was a conversation I had with a friend recently. And this is why I got into the Beamer years ago. Mm-hmm. This is why I got into the Healy. And when I was doing this, I thought, oh, this is just going to be that. No. I had my sister come and use it. Well, she was just coming to visit, and our dogs were playing, and I said, "Hey, I just got this new thing. You want to try it out?" And I know she's got health issues: a shoulder, she's got a knee, and she's got an ankle. She broke an ankle about a year ago, and she got on it, and we tried to go up a little higher. We came back down because she was getting hot, but she did that, and literally, she called me the next day, and she said, "Hey, I got home and my ankle has never felt as loose as it does and as flexible as it does, and there's no pain. And I want to come back and use the device." Just so happens Wayne had come down to see me. We were going out to lunch, getting some brisket at down the famous Austin spot, and I said, it just so happens Wayne's here. So we met her back at my place, and Wayne had all the devices, and we got her on all the stuff, and she bought the P90 Plus. She bought the belt, which is this, which is pretty darn cool. And you want to speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, so this is awesome too, because this is also PEMF. So the goggles and the shake and massager, which David's holding right now, those two have a lower level of PEMF. So that's a delivery. So when you have that shake and massager around your gut, remember, go back to the cadaver and how many blood vessels are in the gut, right? Right. And that's where our immune system starts. That's where our brain chemistry starts. Our gut is so
second brain.
It is. It's how our body is able to function, right? We have to have absorption. Okay, so we've got the PEMF there, but then it also has the metal pad, so you can put the conductivity gel if you want and get the electric muscle stimulation on it. It has heat and compression. It has radio frequency. It has all of that. You're kind of getting everything. It doesn't have the terahertz, but you're getting everything else. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's and I got it.
My husband wears it on his back because he had a compression fracture in his lumbar region, so he puts it on his back. He turns around. I had somebody say, "Can I put it on my butt?" And I was like, "Yes, you can. You can put it on your butt."
Oh, real? Okay, because it handles some visceral fat, and it's got the.
Yeah, and it has the red light in it too. So red light penetrates. It's got 650 nanometers. So that goes a couple of centimeters down into this, and that encourages the cells to release fat. Yeah. So it has.
No, I'm not washing clothes on my 6-pack yet, but I anticipate, the washboard.
Yeah.
That in the future. So I'm hoping that this is going to give me that. But basically.
Well, three different things, right? So it's your belly fat, and it's your gut health and back pain. Three huge things in our market.
Yeah.
And I see this as an add-on, like the goggles. I see that as an add-on. Although the goggles can really help. We've had people with macular degeneration, wet and dry, all kinds of different things, glaucoma, pressure in the eyes. One lady in California, it's kind of noisy. The compression, it's kind of noisy, right? When you have them on. And so she had to take her hearing aids out while she was using the goggles. Well, after about 3 or 4 sessions, she'd put her hearing aids back in, and she realized she was now hearing the clock on the wall and hearing the refrigerator run.
Oh, wow.
She hadn't been hearing that with her hearing aids in prior to using the goggles.
Wow.
So again, put 10 people on these devices and 9 of them are going to say, "What? Wait, what?" Yeah.
So it's when you first got it, and you said you're a what do you call it? A electroceutical
junkie? Yeah.
So you're very aware of all of these things. And what was different for you with this? And did you because basically what this company does is it rewards you for sharing this.
Yeah.
And it's a natural share, because it's like, hey, I had my guest on, and he's talking about going and having 3 of his discs fused together.
Right.
And I'm saying, and I said, please check this out, because I healed my back with PEMF, with the beamer, with the spot on the beamer.
Right.
And but and that helped that changed my world.
Right.
And this, my sister has a beamer too. She was not getting the kind of relief on her ankle and her knee as she has with this.
Right.
Like you mentioned, like this is like if the beamer and the Healy had a baby, and
had
the baby
had a Superman baby.
Had a Superman baby. Yes, exactly.
Yeah, that's kind of what it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
And everybody has different levels of nutritional reserves and different levels of information, and our systems are compromised in different ways. So what works for one person right away, it may take a while for that other person, or there may be enough degeneration that maybe the surgery is necessary, but you can have something to help recover and heal after the fact. Since we haven't had this technology around, many of us have been living in an inflamed state for very long. Someone in the chat asked about parasites. Well, parasites go hand in hand with heavy metals. I purposely wore these earrings. Remember, David, I told you that I have this pair of silver hoops that I just love. And and it's stupid. I should just go get some sterling. These have some type of alloy in them that have some nickel. And so before the P90 Plus, I could wear these for maybe 3 hours once a week, but I would, my earlobes would start to itch. I can wear these every day now. So I know that everything in my body is starting to get to a place where heavy metals are starting to be chelated naturally. That's God's plan, right? Is for us to have enough minerals in our body that they will naturally chelate all and bind with all of the harmful stuff and carry it out of the body. Well, if the body is functioning better, that can happen, right? And parasites go hand in hand with heavy metals. So they feed off the off-gassing and all of that. So if you have parasites, you probably have heavy metals. And if you have something here that can assist. Now, this isn't like a Rife machine that will zap parasites within your body. That's not what this does. But I do believe that there are so many elements that this machine does, from the dredging the meridians and activating the electrical pathways and changing our cardiovascular system, that we become a bad host, right? A parasite needs a good host. And if we're healthy, guess what? We're a bad host. So I can see where definitely we could start eliminating some of those things that have kind of been overrun. We're going to always have worms and parasites. We're just a mammal, right? That's going to be in our system all the time. It's just our immune system's job to keep everything at bay and keep everything copacetic. And so, so
there was, how does this compare to energy enhancement system? Do you know that?
I do not know that one. Energy enhancements. I don't know that one.
I don't either. Will it help for arthritis?
Yeah. A lot of people have noticing their joints. I used to have this, a lot of women have this. This is our low back. And during menopause, we get this, this joint that flares up. And
is that right?
I can open up jars now, and I don't even think about it anymore. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Very cool.
I know, right? The body is so amazing.
Autism and neurological brain damage. You mentioned some of the heavy metals and so forth. Is
potentially, again, it's like, what has caused it? Is it structural, or is it degraded enough that even better blood flow isn't going to necessarily help it? And again, we're all different, but my belief is get better blood flow and let's see what it does. Let's see what it does. Get better blood flow there. Let's see what it does.
Thyroid, again, better circulation.
Better circulation. Right? And if we can get rid of some heavy metals and we can increase the vibratory rate so that our thyroid functions better in alignment with our adrenals. It's never just about the thyroid. It's about the adrenals. They work on a scale like this together. They're never like this. If the adrenals are low, the thyroid's low. The thyroid is low because of damage. the adrenals are stressed. But
My
usually
Go
it's
ahead.
the adrenals. Usually it's the adrenals first. So
My energy has been really just rough as of late, for quite a while. And since I have been on this, and I've been doing it twice a day,
twice a day.
20 minutes, and I'm using my sister's belt and my sister's goggles that she bought because she's traveling. So she let me crack them open and get to work here, so
How
I could
generous of her.
test.
That's awesome.
Yeah, test it out because I let her have mine for a couple of days too, and she shared it with a couple of friends that had some great results on it as well. And so it really is. It's the kind of thing where yeah, the word of mouth on this thing is they're flying off the shelves for this company, right? I mean, aren't they? Didn't they do 3 billion or something like that in sales?
Crazy. Well, Van and Tuan, who are, they introduced Sherry and Sherry introduced it to us. And that was back, they became involved kind of like in, I think, March, April, or May of last year. And by the time I purchased our unit in September, they were 7 weeks back ordered. So I paid for expedited shipping to get mine here because I didn't want to wait 7 weeks. And so they were 7 weeks back ordered. Now you can have it in 7 to 10 days.
That's awesome.
It's just, someone asked about warranty. There's a year warranty.
Year warranty. Yes. Thank you for catching that.
And their customer service is awesome. They have WhatsApp that you can call or text, or you can email them. They're very quick to respond. They're just on the other side of the planet from us. So we got to recognize that it's Singaporean time.
I mean, you could talk to a human being.
You could actually talk to a human being.
Oh, all right. You had
that, right?
Yeah, you got me. Fawn asked, does the Ole Life THZ Terra P90 Plus also target fat?
So higher cellular voltage. I noticed right away I dropped 10 pounds. I started wearing jeans that I hadn't worn, and I was like, okay, this is cool. I started not having the appetite because my body had a new fuel, right? It was burning more. And now I'm to a place now where I have appetite back again. But yes, I mean, I lost 10 pounds almost within that first probably month and a half. And I was like, okay, I hope this keeps going, but initially you have higher cellular voltage. So guess what happens? Your nervous system is balanced, but your cellular voltage is higher. So you're burning calories better. They were saying initially that when you had your feet on the P90 Plus, it was like burning 600 to 1,000 calories per 20 minutes. I don't know if that's true or not, but I do feel like I noticed a difference with my appetite initially and then dropping some weight.
Okay.
Definitely. Yeah.
So if that's the case, I'm going to have some cake while I sit on.
Well, Van when she got the shaken massager, she did a Facebook Live where she had the shaken massager on her belly and a bag of potato chips. She is a very, very thin and beautiful Asian woman. So she didn't need to lose weight. She didn't need to be. So she was using the shaken massager with her bag of potato chips.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Horsepower says, my husband's spine is calcified. It's called Dish. I'm hoping this helps him.
Well, it will. Yeah, and I don't know that it'll help if the calcification has taken over. Obviously, we're trying to balance minerals, right? Over calcification means under magnesium, less magnesium in the body. But if he probably is experiencing some pain, then yes, potentially. I've never heard of Dish, so I'm not sure exactly what that is.
I haven't either.
I don't know if that's stenosis, so there's more calcification around where the nerves come out.
Does he get an NFL red zone? That's all I want to know. All right. So let's see who else has got. This is great. This Q&A is fantastic. Thank you. This is amazing.
If you would pull up the slide with my book on it. So this is what I did, is that a lot of these European countries, they don't like the manual when you get it. It's all about precautions and stuff like that. And because it's a wellness device, there's no protocol. And so people were just kind of like, we're just using it, well, you got to be really careful with it, right? And so what I found is there are a lot of people who just had so many questions. And so I spent about 5 weeks and dove into putting this ebook together that literally walks you through everything, all the way from I've ordered, how do I look to do my tracking? How do I see my tracking? All the way to you got it, unbox it, and you start your first session. How do I put someone else on it? I felt like those were a lot. Can I use an extension cord? Things like that, where you just like, as somebody who's decided to sell this and have this be an extra income, I can't be answering all of those calls all the time over and over and over with all my new people. So I did put this book together, and I do believe that there is, I'm not sure if Wayne and Nancy are doing this, but for a few people or for everyone. So it might be one of the dash to the phone and place your order that you get this book with the purchase.
Yeah, that's what we were just talking about. So anybody who orders from the show, we're going to throw in the book with the purchase, which is normally, how much is it?
$21.99.
$21.99.
Yep.
And you can also just, buy the book, but it's really a user manual for this.
Mm-hmm.
And
the shaken massager and the goggles.
For the what? I'm sorry.
It has information on the shaken massager.
Okay.
And how to use it, all the settings, how to turn it on, how to change the language, things like that. And the goggles, all the different settings, how to use it. And then the P90 Plus, kind of pretty much everything you need to know, plus more. There's stuff about detoxing and hydration and electrolytes and some links on where to get stuff. I just put this together because I just felt like there were so many people that were kind of like, well, I know to put my feet on it, and I would love to share it, but I don't have the verbiage. I don't have the information, And so that's my husband got to experience me behind the computer a lot the last 5 weeks putting this together.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. That's awesome. And one of the things we talked about, and people that have bought the Healy will appreciate this, Maria, is that it was, by the way, Horsepower says diffuse idiopathic skeletal hyperostosis was the dish of the back issue.
Let me find that, and I'm gonna diffuse idiopathic skeletal hypertosis. Okay, this is what I want you to do. I'm going to give you one of my little secret things that I do.
Okay.
There are 4 things in our food. I know we're going long. Do you want to keep going?
That's fine. Yeah, this is good.
There are 4 things in our food that we make everything with, right? Vitamins, minerals, amino acids, and essential fatty acids. So our vitamins, minerals, our protein builders, and our fats, right? That makes everything from our hair to our digestive enzymes to our toenails. And bone and muscle and everything in between. So when I'm researching something, I want to find out where the deficiency is, because if you can figure out if the body is skewed in some way, it means there's a deficiency in one or some of those elements. Let me give you an example. Anyone who's lactose intolerant is potassium deficient. Clearly 100% potassium deficient, because we need potassium to create lactase, which is the enzyme that breaks down milk solids quickly in our heated oven so that it doesn't putrefy too fast, right? If we don't have enough potassium, we don't have enough lactase, and then we become lactose intolerant, right? So if you're on this call and you have lactose intolerant, add in about 600 to 800 milligrams of potassium, and you'll start noticing a difference in that. So that's what I go off of, is which one or more of those elements is missing for a particular thing. So when I'm looking at diffuse idiopathic skeletal hypertosis, what I would do is I would put that in, and so put that into Google or ChatGPT, and mineral deficiency, and look at all of the articles and see if there's something that sticks out a lot. Is it vitamin D? Is it magnesium? What is it? What do you see a lot of articles? What is a lot of that? And then go to the next one, that same issue and vitamin deficiency, and then look and see. Is it vitamin D, vitamin D? Is it vitamin B12? Is it, what is it? What is the main thing? And then do that with amino acids, and then do it with essential fatty acids. And you can start to get a picture of what you've been missing in your diet and your supplementation, that if you add that in, the body could start going, oh, thank you. Because that's what I've been asking for, but you didn't know how to read me. Right. So that's one way that you can, anything you have going on is just start researching. What is that? What is it? Those 4 things are what starts the process, those depletion states. Hopefully that made sense.
Yeah. So, that's amazing way to do research on this stuff.
Yeah, you may have to go out to page 11 and 12 to get through all the medical stuff. It used to be if you put minerals in, nothing medical would show up. Well, the algorithms have changed a lot. So you may have to go out, type all that in and then go out to page 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 so that you can get rid of all the medical jargon and get to, the naturopathic articles that have been written.
Awesome. So Fawn said, is there a code we should use if ordering from you? And there's not, Fawn, because this is going directly to my website, which goes directly to the order. And you can also talk to us. So you can either place your order here and you put in all your information, and then we're going to help you place the order itself as well. So you can go directly to placing the order. And if you do it tonight, or we'll call it within the next 24 hours, if you will throw in a free book of Maria's, and so you can order directly, start your orders, very, very simple. And I'm going to be, I've got help with Wayne and Nancy are helping with this.
Oh, look, and somebody put in the chat, the book is amazing. Thanks, Maria. It answered so many questions. Thank you for posting that, because that awesome. Helps other people recognize that. Okay.
Oh yeah, Nancy got it. Yeah.
Oh, that was her. Okay. Yeah.
And it was so, I started talking about the Healy. It was so difficult to train people on the Healy.
It was.
And I wanted to say that Maria created a website for the Healy as well. What is that? APT?
ATP 123, because the Healy helps to bring up ATP. So ATP123.com. And, if you go to it, if you have a Healy, there are a lot of broken links because it has not been managed for a number of years now, because it just, they keep changing everything.
Right.
But a lot of the basic information is there. Yeah.
So ATP 123 for those who, .com. And, for those who have the Healy, and again, you use both.
I do.
And which and I do as well. Very different things. The Healy you can take with you. And somebody else, Uni Sophie, has Dish. Wow. Yeah, thank you. We'll research for them. And thank you, Fawn. So, and then if you just need more information, then just here, hold on. Then just put in, talk to our team, and you're going to be on with Wayne, Nancy, or myself. And quite honestly, mostly Nancy and Wayne, but because I'm focused on the show. And that's why they're helping us out. So you could just, preferred method of contact, best time for a quick call, which is ideal, I think, folks. If you need some questions answered, you could email all day, but picking up the phone call. I mean, we're the X-Gen, we're the boomers. Let's pretend we're in the kitchen with the phone on the wall with a long, cord, and just walk around and just, have a conversation about this stuff. And it just especially in today's day and age of just, trying to get, I was on with Calendly and Stripe today, trying to get a phone call. No, it's not going to happen. God forbid you talk to an actual human being. And so am I missing any other questions that,
So
and I want to get your link tree up here in a second as
Air Force
well.
girl. So I think she was the one with the hypoglycemic. And now she's saying, will you get electrocuted if you have sweaty feet? You won't get electrocuted, but you will definitely feel it more intensely. And so that's why they say in the book to not shower prior to, so your feet. Okay. But I have to tell you, remember how we were talking about hypoglycemic tendencies and your adrenals, and sweaty feet and sweaty hands are also, and armpits that you don't have deodorant, it won't work, is also a sign of adrenal fatigue. So again, we're talking about B vitamins. So hopefully that helps you tonight. Maybe that was why you were on the call, is so you could go get a B complex and start taking 2 to 3 times what the label says. So hopefully that helps.
Interesting. And you're big on B complex, aren't you?
Well, nowhere in nature do you find just B3 somewhere. It's always a complex. B12 we get from our meat, so that's separate. But all the other Bs we get from our fruits and vegetables, and rarely or never is there just one B in those.
Right.
It's a complex, and they're needed. So I like the ones that have like the stress, mega stress, because it'll be B vitamins and vitamin C. Vitamin C is also great for the adrenals. So it's this really nice blend.
Okay.
Those are some of the things that most of us are lacking. And during times of stress, we use up our B vitamins and our minerals first. That's what we use up quickly when we're under stress, perceived or real. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
I know we could talk all night. Do we want to talk all night? Should we just go all night?
Hey, don't tempt me, because I've done that more times than I can count. You ask anybody in this chat, we've gone 7 hours, 8 hours. Yeah, we've done long. Yeah. And Tree says, well, Dave, since I left my jacket there in California, you didn't grab it for me. I'm just coming to Texas to use the P90 Plus. Awesome, Tree.
There you go.
Awesome. And hyperhidrosis. Do you know what that is?
I don't.
Air Force girl.
Hyperhidrosis. Yeah. So just basically probably extreme sweating.
Yeah. And Sue says, how can we get your book if we order next week? And I'm going to show you the link, Sue. Let me, I was trying to pull up your,
my link tree.
Yeah. Could you just give me the address and I'll type it in? Cause
linktree.com/ and then Light Life. Light Life Solutions is the name of my clinic. So LITELIFE, Light Life.
There we go. Okay, here we go. I used to have a link tree, and they didn't seem to like what I was saying about COVID and the vaccines. So I lost everything. I lost my PayPal, my Venmo. They used Linktree to link it all together, and then they canceled my Linktree.
Wow.
So I wanted to. So this is Maria, and this is. I'm very interested in your natural remedy, the Settled Down.
Yeah, that has been. We bottled that in 2014.
Okay.
Yeah. And we even have a couple of elementary schools that the nurse has a bottle at the nurse's station, and then the child can go and take a pill so that they're not sent to the principal's office after lunch, right?
Okay.
So, but it helps with pets, helps with anxiety, social irritability or restlessness. We're not supposed to say panic, anxiety, PTSD, ADHD, ADD, but it helps calm. So let me tell you what it is then. I put together skullcap, kava, and GABA. Those 3 things have been proven to calm the extra neuron firing in the brain. We all have some extra neuron firing, but some people have more, right? So it calms that extra neuron firing. And then I have B5 and vitamin C in there. Those 2 specifically are great for the adrenals. And so those 2 help the adrenals. There is milk thistle in it, which helps the liver. And then there's kudzu.
Mhm.
Now, kudzu is an herb down south that overgrows everything. And kudzu is
Yeah.
really good for that looping thought where you keep thinking about that same stupid thing over and over and over again. And so if you can calm the extra neuron firing, bring the adrenals out of fight or flight, and then calm that looping thought, you can either focus on what you need to, or you can go to sleep. It's not a stimulant. It's all natural, but it's not stimulant. So if you can quiet the brain chatter, people can go to sleep. But if you can quiet all the other neuron firing, then you can focus. So that's
Interesting.
yeah, it's been really, really helpful for so many people. I have a lot of teachers who take it right now. They get a bottle and then they get an extra bottle to hand out to the other teachers. But
that's awesome. All right, we're gonna have to talk more about that. So your link tree. Let me take you back to that. This is the Holy Life new user manual. Okay. Digital pulse wear device. Tell me what that is.
That was the one where you can see the slide where we showed the nervous system and the arterial, the scans before and after the P90 Plus. That's an actual finger pulse machine that you can do a reading. So this is really designed, this particular, oh, you'll love this. Let's just go here real quick. This company has put together the nutrition based on Dr. Ignaro's research. Dr. Louis Ignaro and his research team in 1998 literally found the nutritional cure for heart disease and arteriosclerosis. Reversing plaquing. That was in 1998. Dr. Louis Ignaro and his research team won the Nobel Prize, right? What our pharmaceutical companies did was they took the research because it was based on natural vasodilation, and we now have Viagra. So this doctor and his research team, lifetime achievement of basically reversing heart disease, cardiovascular disease. And what we got was a 4-hour erection. Sad.
Wow.
He's still working, but this company that does the pulse wave, that's what this is for, is to see, can I take somebody who has plaquing and then start taking the Cardio for Life supplement, which we take for just prevention, right? We take it every day, been taking it since 2010. And this is the device that he now uses to show that arterial health and the reduction of plaquing and the arterial elasticity that starts to come back. I just happened to find that it was really exciting that it changed the nervous system. The P90 Plus changed the nervous system, and I could read it with this machine. But there's going to be a lot of people that they need proof, right? They need some diagnostic proof of, oh, I can see from this screen that it really is helpful. So I know there's a lot of practitioners that have gotten this device, this little finger pulse device. It just is an app on your phone. You buy it once, there's no subscription. It just works. And then you scan everybody. We did a health fair up in Casper, Wyoming, and we were scanning people before and after. And it was great to see, wow, this helps calm the nervous system and the arterial elasticity comes back. And if you could do that every single day, what are the chances that your body would start really, really reversing some of the illness that is already starting to take shape in your body, right?
Yeah.
You can just get that every day, that every single day you're reducing stress, reducing inflammation, and changing how your cardiovascular system works. Yeah.
Wow. Penny says she's got a rare appendix cancer. It was in remission 8 years. Now it's back. No real cure yet. My abdomen and pelvic is filling up with a thick mucin.
Ooh, okay.
I wonder if this, I mean, all of it probably, but maybe this and the P90. I mean, it's the kind of thing. What's the warranty's a year? What's the money back if people, get this and they want to try it and see if it really helps them?
It's an Asian company. They don't do money back, but
okay,
there are many people who will buy a second device.
Right. Okay.
I had somebody who, It was so sad. She was 84 and really wanted it, and her children talked her out of it. She purchased it. She had been saving she had $1,500 in her little cookie jar at home. And she goes, Maria, I knew there was something coming along that would help me. And then her kids talked her out of it. So she called me and she said, how can I return this machine? And I said, you can't, but I will find somebody that bought it. And within 2 weeks, I had somebody buying it from her. So, yeah. So there are people that will buy a machine back or buy a second one to have as a, at their office or as a promo or a demo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tommy, this is here to stay. I'm going to be selling this a while because it's the real deal. I can feel it already with my energy, with my calves. I've been having some issues with my calves. I'm actually going to go much lower with the calf stuff because I'm really feeling it there.
Lower at night feels good there.
It's yeah. So it's going to be here for a while.
Yeah. Even doing, even like my husband just said, even doing, intensity 1 or 2 at night, Dave, instead of,
Yeah. Tell him thank you. I did that last night.
Mm-hmm.
What's your husband's name?
Steven.
Hey, Steven. How you doing? Thanks for sharing your bride with us this evening. This has been a lovely connection and lovely Q&A. So at this link, which I put in the YouTube and Rumble and X, Maria's Linktree link.
Doing that. That's appreciative. Do not buy your machine. Do not send me. Because I have Oli Life on here too. So you heard about this device from Dave. You're going to go to his site. Don't buy that from me.
Yes. And that's this one here. That's the SNED PEMF, my friends. That's the SNED PEMF. And you'll see the basketball. That's when you know you're in my sight. And I tell you, I am just so looking forward to, the Beamer helped me. The Healy has helped me. And from everything I'm hearing and everything I'm feeling, all of the pounding and the jumping and the landing that I did in my career, I feel it with every step. And I'm really excited about this and what it's done for me already, just with my energy.
Yeah. And I think it's one of those things that we just have to recognize that, my little saying is prevention with intention. It's not one of those things where like, oh, my plantar fasciitis is better. I can stop using that, or I can sell the machine. I don't need it anymore. This is in our toolbox. The Healy is in our toolbox. The Beamer, if you have it, is in your toolbox. Your supplements are in your toolbox, whatever is resonating with you. And prevention with intention. We have to have that in this day and age because we don't know what is the next thing that's going to come at us. We don't know. And we already have so much that our body has to deal with. So I just feel like David and I talked about this earlier, we don't even know what we have when we're holding this in our hands because we don't know what we're going to be brought up against. And so anything we can do now to prepare for that and start getting our body in this place of just functioning, regain and retrain and restore, we have to be doing it. We can't be lax.
Do you, speaking of what's coming after us, are we hearing anything about the COVID jab and the spike protein that is showing up in everybody's bodies?
Do you know that this lowers spike protein?
Yes, that is fantastic.
Yes, I have 2 people in Atlanta, Georgia that had their spike protein test prior to getting their Oli machine. And then they had their spike proteins tested 4 months later. One gentleman was taking ivermectin because he really felt like his was high. His was 5,900. So he really felt like, I got to hit it. So he was doing ivermectin. His dropped 39.4% in those 4 months, his spike proteins. The other gentleman, strictly Oli, didn't do anything, wasn't taking any new supplements or anything like that. And his went down 17.8 or 17.9%.
Wow. Wow.
That was just in 4 months. So
Okay.
over time.
Okay.
Yeah. Over
Okay.
time.
Wow, that's exciting, and it makes sense too, right?
It does.
It makes sense because we're, what you're the way it's, yeah, um, yeah, and also it's an electronic, and it's tough to do refunds on electronics and everything. Um, Now, somebody said, "What if they can't buy it all at once?" And there is financing available through Karma if needed. Have you experienced that at all?
Or a firm. You can
Or
a
or
firm.
what?
A
A
firm.
firm. Okay,
Mhm.
a firm. Yeah.
A firm is
Okay.
another one. Yeah, I wish the company did a payment plan. Um, be careful because there are some distributors out there that will jack the price up to
Mm.
cover financing, but you end up paying a lot more. So if you can, find other means, then do it because your price is our price. It's
Mhm.
$16.50 shipping for the P90 Plus. It's
$16.50 with shipping.
1,500 and then 150 shipping and tariffs. So
Mhm.
it's 1,650 at your door in 7 to 10 days. Yeah.
Mhm.
So if you can find the means to do it, then do that or start saving up. Right now there's only 10,000 people in the United States that have this device, which I still think is so amazing.
Wow.
We're going to come to a place where it's common because it grows so organically. It's organic growth. So
That's
if
amazing.
and it's lucrative. So if you're on this call right now and you're like needing to have an income, this could be potentially it. So just know that there's a lot of ways that this could help you. Like I said, this could be a game changer in so many different ways for people. When
Mm.
you purchase a machine, you're automatically in the company as a distributor, but there's no auto ships. There's no monthly or yearly fees. There's
Mhm.
nothing like that. Your purchase gets you a place in the company, and then you get to choose if you want to share it, sell it, or never look at it again and just use your machine. There's no pressure, there's no quotas, there's no
Right.
nothing. The opportunity is always there so that if your sister-in-law or your mom or
Mm.
your child or whoever wants to purchase one, you could then make a commission off of it because you're already there. You're already in the company.
I
It's a
mean, that's really just the most natural way to do it. Like, you don't have to pay any extra to make it a business. You don't get a back office or anything. It's just like, listen, if you buy it, you're an ambassador for our company. If you like it, because you're just sharing it, and if you share it with people that you're going to benefit from it because you did the advertising for us. That's this direct marketing is pretty solid. And the fact that there's only 10,000 of them in the United States right now, um, 10,000 devices or people that are.
Well, you can, because this is an Asian company, you can actually hold some different spots if you want to really capitalize and have a strategic,
Mhm.
you know, business end of it. You could do that. So I'm sure that there's people who hold several different, spots within the organization.
Right.
But I did clarify this with Van this morning, and she said that there are 10,000 basically people or distributors.
Okay. So, and there might be 10,000 that see this show. So right now is probably 1,300, maybe 1,400.
There's a really beautiful opportunity here for anybody who does want to look at helping people in the future and
Mhm.
from a preparedness state, of being
Right.
prepared for what's coming and helping people find a tool that's inexpensive comparatively to some of the other devices out there. A new Beamer now is close to $7,000.
I know,
So
right? Yeah.
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 So this can be
Price wise, it's much cheaper than a lot of the things that are out there. And like you said, it's got the patents, you're not going to find that on the Amazon devices.
right.
You're not going to find the significant patents. The And this is going to be a household device in the next 5, 6 years, because once you use it, yeah, it's just like my sister has everything. She's got a laser, she's got a beamer, she's got a vibration plate, she's got all kinds of stuff. She too, you guys might see each other at the electroceutical AA meetings. You know,
Wait a minute. That was a jab, wasn't it? Huh?
I like it.
and but she got it because she felt it immediately in her body, and that is what I'm experiencing, and that's what everybody experiences. So it's like it's kind of a no-brainer once you try it out, and it's pretty amazing that it's much cheaper than the Beamer. It's much cheaper. Well, it's a little cheaper than the Healy with the mag and all that, all that once you get all the connections on the Healy.
Yeah.
But very different, very much stronger. Wow, what a delight having you on this evening, Maria.
Thank you for inviting me. This has been a lot of fun, and I just love
You're
educating and helping
I
people
can
understand
tell.
it better.
I can tell you're so good at it.
Helping just people understand, just so that they're aware. I think that's lost in our society right now, is we don't get all the information we need, the transparency and the information that we really need to make really educated decisions on stuff. And I feel like this was an opportunity to really kind of dig in, like, what is it really doing in the body? What is it? What can you expect?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Pulsed electromagnetic field.
Mhm. Henny Penny in here said that, what did she say? I was only one of 6 owners in Iowa. Yeah.
To have it in 2016.
2016. Oh, don't think this.
Oh, the dish.
Oh,
No, that the pancreatic cancer, or not the pancreatic, but the cancer that she was mentioning, I think.
Oh, okay. I missed her first one. I thought maybe she was one of 6 of Oli. And I know in Greeley, the only people that have an Oli Life device are the people that we've introduced it to. So.
Yeah, this I think is what I'm hearing is that people are just they're experiencing it, and it's different than anything they've done before. That's what I'm hearing, is that because a lot of people that would be turned on by a device like this have been turned on by other devices prior. It's pretty natural. We're looking for, the med beds, but there's been nothing but talk. There's some, people that advertise for them out there, but you really can't. It's not the one that they're talking about losing, 30 years off your age and all that kind of stuff. I mean, that hasn't been exposed yet. But this kind of thing, Tesla talked about frequency. Einstein talked about the future of medicine will be in frequency. And here we are with frequency, and how it increases the voltage of our cells, and that's pretty powerful. So I'm very excited on it. Yeah. And Donig says, this is about the price I spend on essential oils in 5 months. Holy cow. That's a lot of oil.
That's a lot of oil.
That's a lot. It's a lot of oil. Maybe this could.
Is there an essential oil AA meeting? We could do it all together. Nutraceutical, electroceutical.
Yeah,
can I tell you really quick about my parents, who are both 84 this year?
Oh, please do, because you were telling me about them, and I'd love my audience to hear about them.
And my mom, I mean, a lot of times, when you bring things to your family, they poo-poo you, and they're like, one more thing that you're bringing. My mom was one of those that grew up on the farm, and she would hide barley in everything for us. So she'd make a pie and we'd go, does this have barley in it? So as we were growing up, she was putting wheat bran, she was putting all kinds of stuff in our food because she understood value. So when I started getting into this business, she bought a Beamer because she said, if I can have 5 more years of how I feel right now, which is tap dancing and line dancing and walking and being super active, that she wanted that. So she got her Beamer. And then the Healy came along and she got the Healy. And then this came along and she said, whatever it is, just go ahead and get me one. So this is my parents' day. They get up in the morning and they do their 8-minute Beamer. They go for their walk. My dad has a pulse oxygen level of 100 at 84 years old. They go for their walk. They come back. They get their juice, their coffee, their supplements, and they sit down and they get the Cardio for Life, the Nobel Prize winners right there, Cardio for Life, and they put their feet on the Oli. And then she's programming her Heelys while that's happening. So usually joints and bones, because that's her favorite. So one goes in my dad's pocket and the other one goes in hers. They go about their day. And then after dinner, they do their Oli. And then before bed, they do their Beamer. And then as they're going to bed, they do their Healy on sleep system. So
wow.
They look like they're in their 60s. They act, last year they felled a tree at their cabin and they were hauling wood. And I'm like, Mom, let somebody else haul the wood. They're super active. They jitterbug, they line dance, they, tap dance. They do all of that. They're 84 this year. And I just see other 60-year-olds, 70-year-olds who don't have that type of vitality. But that is the prevention with intention mindset. That's what we have to have.
Prevention with intention.
Prevention with intention. Yep.
And they're really feeling a difference with the PEMF.
Oh, yeah. In fact, my mom did have a hip replacement. She was a hairdresser for years, so standing constantly, had a hip replacement. And the nurse that came into her room to do all the pre-blood work and stuff came in, looked at my mom in the bed, and then was like, oh, excuse me, and turned around and came back. Well, then she came back in and she said, is your name Sherry? And my mom said, yeah. She goes, you're 80? This was 4 years ago. You're 80? She was like, yeah. So, yeah, it's just, we have to be in that mindset, prevention with intention.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Maria. I have a feeling that we might be talking again.
I would love to come back and we can talk about something else for hours.
Awesome. Thank you, Steve. And they're in the background. And much love to you both, and light. And thank you again. And again, folks, for anybody who orders from this show, whatever it is you want from the website, snedpemf.com, you will get free Maria's book on basically the owner's manual, because she didn't want to go through the Healy situation again, which was very difficult. And this is so much easier.
It is
so much easier, but it's nice to have that, because then you can really dial it in and answers all the questions. So congrats on getting that book done.
Thank you.
And thank you for sharing that with us.
And thank you for allowing me to share it. Thank you for allowing me to come on. It's been a lot of fun.
Yes, you're very welcome. Okay. Thanks so much, Maria. Good night and be well. All right.
Thank you.
God bless. All right, my friends, what a lovely visit, huh? And by the way, and I'm going to do more of this. I'm going to do more, just conversations about health, about moving forward with our world, with our health, with our mind, with our intentions, because it's we are shifting, and we're seeing it, every day. We're seeing what's taking place in China right now with President Trump and all the, you're going to be blown away about what comes out of that. You're going to be blown away at the fraud that is unveiled. You're going to be blown away at the people like Brennan and Comey, who are going to go down for their crimes, their treasonous crimes against you and I and President Trump and his administration. You're going to be amazed at the shift in the election because of all the election corruption that's being exposed. You're going to be amazed at the NGOs and the waste in government. You're going to be amazed at who in Congress and who you voted for that have sexual assault charges against them and have had to use our taxpayer money to pay off the victims. You're going to be amazed at how many judges are going to be exposed so that we can really see the treachery that is involved in our judiciary. And how and why, by the way, not just they're not just idiots. These judges in these robes in this British accredited system, the bar, these lawyers, these judges, they are working in a maritime system that we are going to be dispensing with. And we're going to see that it's not just idiots that are letting these criminals back out on the streets, but it's actual men and women that have been taking money from foreign countries, from George Soros, to do exactly what it is they are doing, and that is letting murderers, letting criminals, letting violent criminals back out onto the streets. And what we've seen with DC, with how Trump has cleaned that up, and Memphis, you're going to see with other cities when the federal government is allowed to go in and take out a lot of bad people. And so it's you're just going to be amazed. We all are at what's coming. And I want us to be healthy for it. I want us to be strong for it. I want us to be really, have the light on, have the, see things brighter, because they are getting brighter, and they might get darker before that. But we want to have our awareness around, about us, because we were taken to a drop last night about watch for false flags, because when the bad news happens for the Democrats, look for false flags to occur. So we still have a lot of bad people in the U.S. You're going to be amazed at how Europe, we're already seeing it with England, how they're turning the tide on the Muslim invasion. And I've been talking about the Muslim invasion for longer than I can remember in Europe, and challenging the money and Soros, which is what made that happen. But that's what the Crusades were all about. The Muslim invasion of Europe. That's what the Crusades were all about. Vlad the Impaler was actually protecting his country from Muslim invasion, and impaled all those heads to thwart the Muslim invasion of his country. These were people that were protecting their land from the Middle East. And now they're boasting because they've conquered Europe. They used to be facing, knights in shining armor with swords and bows and arrows and mace and all kinds of tools of weaponry, and on horseback and catapults, and now what they're facing are blankets and bottles of water and debit cards and free housing and free transportation and whole communities where they can rape white girls. This is unbelievable what we've allowed to happen, and what we're experiencing and what we're seeing. Starmer's, he's out. He's not going to be around. Okay. The Labor Party in England, they're dead. They're as dead as the Democrat Party in the United States. Trump went 9-0 with his who he backed for the offices that he was pushing for. Let's see, 9 wins, 0 losses, 3-0 in West Virginia, 6-0 in Nebraska. Okay. President Trump's endorsements, 100%. All right. Now, he's picking winners, but he's also getting behind America First candidates that see the things that have happened for what they really are. So, my friends, this is, I don't do a lot of this, what I did tonight with Maria, but it's also obvious to me that I want to share more with you all going forward so that we can be better prepared for the world around us and what's coming, because I really believe that we are headed for an amazing, amazing world. And I think as we see what's happening, we can see the trajectory of that amazing world, and we need to be prepared for it. We need to be healthy for it. We're all, Gen X boomers that have been beaten down by the indoctrination terribly. We've been beaten down by the bad food, the bad air, the bad soil, the bad water, the sugary drinks, the sugar, the margarine, the bread, the bad glyphosate. We've been poisoned. The mercury in our mouths from the fillings, the fluoride in the water. My God, my friends, we have been beaten down and we have been weakened because the people that are controlling this world understand how very powerful we are. And they know that they cannot combat humanity at its full potential. They can't combat humanity at half potential. So they have to weaken us. They have to lie to us. They have to just absolutely keep us out of balance. They have to put spike proteins in us and mRNA. And Steiner talked about it in 1917, that he said that they will use medicine, they will use vaccines to separate man from source. And look what they've done. Look how they've taken God out of schools. Look how they've absolutely bastardized our school system. So much so I've had to spend money out the wazoo for 13 years for my daughter's education, because there's no way in hell I would even put her in the #1 elementary school around the corner from us in California by California state standards and federal standards. It wasn't an option. The indoctrination of that child was not an option. The forced vaccination was not an option. And yet they've done it and they've succeeded across the board. So I think it's just so imperative for us to step into this new world as strongly, as patiently, as beautifully as we possibly can. And we got to bring our, I was coaching a young boy tonight, and he missed a shot and he walked over to get the ball. I'm like, I need you to run over and get that ball and run back. I said, listen, when you come to Coach Dave, I need the best you got. I need the best young man. I don't need the lazy one on the couch. I need the best one. I need that guy to show up every day. And that's what we need to do as a society, as a species, to really step forward in this brave new world, which it's funny that Aldous Huxley called it that, being a a Fabian Society member and knowing the blueprint and writing A Brave New World and how they used the bread and circus and how they used drugs and how they used free sex to enslave the population. Just like Orwell wrote 1984 in the use of oppression and doublespeak and newspeak to control and war, ongoing, never-ending war to control the population. Both Fabian Society, both saw the blueprint, both wrote about it for the purpose of look at this fiction. Meanwhile, wasn't fiction at all. It was following the blueprint of the Fabian Society forward many years. So, but this is a new world that is not a new world order. It's not a brave new world like Huxley. It is a new world free of the level of evil that now controls it. And that's very exciting. When you realize that President Trump and the Q military operation are absolutely decimating every single area of control mechanism for the human population, it starts to get pretty exciting. And we got to still stay on our toes. We still have to question everything. We got to question the real ID. We got to question, some of the things that are happening. We got to challenge the glyphosate. We got to challenge all this stuff. We got to keep going. But I tell you, look at the trajectory, and it is magnificent. Thank you, my friends, for joining tonight. Thank you, Maria, for joining. Thanks, Wayne, for putting that together, and Nancy for helping with this whole connecting with all the SNEDs on this device. And I hope you get it, and I hope you love it, and I know I'm loving it, and I really want it to help you, and I believe it. I believe it can. Otherwise, I wouldn't be talking about it. All right. Much love, everybody. I will not be on tomorrow because I have a play, and Friday night I have a banquet. Saturday, Sunday I have a play. All beautiful little girls. That's all. Not any. I'm not taking my. What do you call those glasses that you what do you call those glasses you take to the opera glasses, I guess. It's not like going to some Hamilton play or anything like that. This is like school plays of dear ones. Basketball game of a dear one that I coach on Saturday, and a couple actually. And so yeah, busy, but so maybe Saturday night. I'm not sure, but I want to get to you. I want to come and see you. And if you and if you want to support my work, you can do so by getting this device, certainly. But you can also do it by helping me out with the Zelle or the Give, Send, Go. And I'm going to put those in the chat and also on the screen. And I will announce the folks who chipped in to save this man and save his work and praise his work. So thank you for those of you who consistently show love to me, love to this community, and love to this show and the work that I do by donating your hard-earned money to me and supporting the work that I do here. And I don't do a lot of commercials, as you know. Every single show I've done, 1,600 plus, have been without question, free of charge. I gave it all away, and I wouldn't have it any other way, because, you know, this has been a revolution, my friends, and without question, it is an important moment in human history. But if this can help you, this information, this device, and if this can help you, it can help me, it can help us both, and that's what this is all about. That's what this is all about. Tree, I do not have Cash App anymore, but if you go on the link, and thank you for asking, by the way, that was one of the ones that canceled me. But if you go on the link, either Donation Nation on Snedheads, or you can go to the one that's in the chat, this link in the chat, then you can use Cash App Pay or Cash App Cash or something like that. But it is linked to Cash App, and you'll see it there. So you can have that in there as well. And Moonbeam's dropping some of the Wayne has Cash App. If you want to send me your thing, Wayne, that would be cool. But I think it's for a donation, but I think they can use it. But if not, maybe I can share that with you. But I wanted to also say that Moonbeam is sharing things like lightningspringsranch.com. Use SNED at checkout for 5% off, because you're going to get the best grass-fed, grass-finished beef that you've ever had out of Eastern Utah, the Lamb family. Phenomenal small family farm. And I'm telling you, folks, I just had 2 steaks last week from that package, and so good, so good. So you can get 5% off at checkout, and it puts 5% on a card that I can buy some as well. My new address, if you want to send me something to my new place in Driftwood, PO 184, Driftwood, Texas, 78619. 78619. So thank you all for being here. And if you felt this was helpful, and you think it could help somebody else, please share it out, and please let them know. 20 minutes in, 25 minutes in, half an hour in, a great naturopath shows up, and great conversation with Dave, and you could say something like that, or I got a lot out of this, and I'm getting one of these machines, and you could share it out. And if you buy the machine, you actually get benefit for sharing it out. So I'd love you to do that as well. And so, so it's all good, my friends. Have a wonderful evening and into your weekend. And I'll hope to come here and see you on Saturday night, but it's a very busy weekend. Daughter, senior high school stuff going on. And plus, kicking things up with these clinics as well. So much love to you all. Be well. And I'll see you very, very soon. All right. Bye-bye.